Where you gonna run? Where you gonna hide?
Just got a call from the comrade. He said I need a favor, blood. That ain't nothing, God, but these phone lines is flaming, bruh. Meet me at the spot quickly, hit me to the details. We gotta be sneaky if we wanna prove theirs. Brother hands is tied, some transpired in his backyard. All fingers point to him if he react, God. The pigs is involved, they pretending to target. This dude gotta go, he violated somebody's daughter.
Straight up and down, man, violated.
The homie from OT, that ain't about nothing. Cause the brother owed me a favor. We handled a problem for him a couple months back. Did it real smooth, where it wouldn't come back to haunt him. He said no problem. When I kited him, wait for things to die down, then we gon' bring the violence. Spent a couple months to get the routine down, yes sir. You already know how that revenge is best served. Got artillery and killers with ability to pop up. Wait for things to get slippery, then we gon' drop him. He got off scot-free on a technicality. A victim dies 1,000 deaths when justice isn't handled properly. Crept up on his property, his eyes bugged when he saw the heat. Talking about don't kill me, but we ain't here for talking, B. We came dressed like UPS, and I brought a package. Oh, so you like touching girls, you little faggot? Lessons to be taught, but don't get caught. Justice must be brought, but don't get caught. What's the law? Put the ball in your court. Get it done, but don't get caught. Blending with the dark and don't get caught. Study your mark and don't get caught. You know you right. In your heart of hearts, stake out your enemies and don't get caught. Crossing T's, dotting I's, see opportunity and then you capitalize. Never send a boy to do a man's job, or use silk to go and swat flies. If we serious about this cracker's demise, then we gotta be wise and improvise. Anytime someone molests a child, he should be fed his fingers before he dies. Nah, these ain't just rhymes, I'm tired of being tired. Pigs kill our babies and they mamas cry. Brothers say it is what it is and don't even try. Figure a limb for a limb and an eye for an eye will make a fool think twice and make a spy recognize. Those the same people that put fire to your behinds. Of any to ever endeavor in our defeat, they had to make us think that we are free. We're unstoppable when faced with adversity. We gotta put in work, but DGC, laundry list of enemies. We gotta stop this onslaught. Get it done, but don't get caught. The spook who sat by the door, warriors I implore. DGC, this is raw shadow law. The sword is they lord, but that bow make them bow. Ask Nanny, ask Zumbi, and ask Hannibal. Lessons to be taught, but don't get caught. Justice must be brought, but don't get caught. What's the law? Put the ball in your court. Get it done, but blending with the dark and don't get caught. Study your mark and don't get caught. You know you're right. In your heart of hearts, stake out your enemies and don't get caught. Black man, we got creeps, pedophiles, roaming our neighborhoods, our communities, preying on our children. What we waiting for? Approval from who? Mask up, load up, and handle our business. But don't get caught. Yeah, don't get caught. Yeah, get 'em. My yassa, a Safo. Yeah. The King of Kings, Lord of Lords, Homophile, ambassador of ambassadors. Until we move on one accord, an L is what we can't afford. Gotta protect our spinal cords, cause snakes shed skin, but not their nature. I said, snakes shed skin, but not their nature. I said, snakes shed skin, but not their nature. Process of elimination, binomial nomenclature. Remember, we're talking about a thing and its very makeup. And how far does it really stray from? Snakes shed skin, but not their nature. Yep, snakes shed skin, but not their nature.
My ancestors woke me up this morning. They say, son, you do know what time it is, don't you? I said, what time is that? They said it's wartime. Welcome to the War Front, brothers and sisters. Glad to have you here this Monday, August 1st, 2016, year of the white race. We're working to bring their end to rule on this planet to an end as soon as possible. And boy, it is getting urgent. Tonight, we're going to do a very interesting program. We're going to listen to an audio clip. It's a brand new audio clip just released with our brother Ronald Savage, who made the assertion. We know we had an interview with Brother Poppy, who've come out amongst, at this point, at least 5 people altogether and many more who won't come out publicly, but who either I've talked to people who know the story, or I've talked to some of the folks, but of course they don't want to come out publicly, so I won't put that information out. But the individual who was known to lead the Zulu nation, whose name we know as Africa Bambaataa, but we now call Greek Bambaataa, these individuals claim that he molested them as children. And we notice a very serious situation now with people trying to get to the bottom of it. And the more and more information comes out, the more and more it's clear not only that people know that it happened, that it's true, but that there were many people in the Zulu nation who knew it was going on when it was going on, but not all the people knew. But enough people knew that something could have been done, but nothing was done. And so he was allowed, according to the information that we have now, to sexually violate children around the world, Black boys in particular, in Brazil, all throughout America, in England, and perhaps other places we're not aware of. And so tonight we're going to do a little bit of really deep digging into what's really going on in this situation and what's going on with this whole sexual abuse thing that's going on. So, and how serious this is, because we are no longer in a stage or a time when the major, homosexuality and pedophilia, we call it homophilia. We lump them together, put them together because culturally they are part of one European sexual paradigm. However, people have more tolerance for grown adults doing things with one another than they do for people molesting children. That's a general tendency. And we are now in a time where there's no more pretending that homosexuality is the real objective. Pedophilia, the rape of children, the sexual acts of children is the real agenda, has been from the beginning. And now it's being made very clear. And it's happening not just in other places, but even in our own communities, which is one of the things that's very sickening and disheartening right now. And so what I'm going to do is tonight we're going to talk about, I'm sure a little backdrop on that, but we're going to start. I want everybody to listen to this. My brother Poppy's trying to get in, so if he gets a chance to get in, he'll be on with us tonight to discuss this. But I want everybody to come with me for a minute. We're going to do a few brief reminders of things that are coming up, and then we're going to go right into this discussion. I want to let everybody know that this weekend, we in fact had a phenomenal event that we attended in Boston, Massachusetts. It was phenomenal. Baba Baruti was in Boston, Massachusetts, and the event was phenomenal, brothers and sisters. If you weren't there, we're sorry for your misfortune. You really should have been there. You really would have enjoyed the event. It was really, really outstanding. The brother drops the kind of information. Our brother Saleh Rowe, we want to thank you and the Boston family, our sisters and brothers up in Boston. My sister Melody was in the house. We had a lot of good brothers and sisters in the house. They ready for that Straight Black Pride Movement chapter in Boston. Is going to happen very soon. I want to let everybody know what we have coming up this weekend. You do not want to miss it. If you're in the Washington, D.C., Baltimore area, right in Baltimore at the Black and Wax Museum, we're having our lecture, Possessed. I would say probably the strongest, the hardest hitting lecture that we have now. where we really deal with the things that our people are faced with. We really deal with the sickness and insanity of the sexual backwardness that we're facing in our community, but not just sexuality, the way we treat one another, the thinking that we have, the behavior. What we're saying is that as African people, our minds and our personalities have been seized by the European, and we're doing things the way the European would have us do them. And so we want you to come on out and check this out. It's going to be Saturday, August 6, 2016. It's $20 donation. It's going to be at the National Great Blacks in Wax Museum, 1601 East North Avenue. So it starts at 5 o'clock. You get from 5 to 6 o'clock. You get a free tour of the museum. If you've never been to the Black and Wax Museum, you're really going to enjoy that. And then the lecture itself is going to start at 6 p.m. You're going to really enjoy this. It's a very strong and powerful lecture. And then, of course, we want you to come on out and enjoy that as we discuss more, not only the lecture, but the potential of starting our Baltimore chapter of the Straight Black Pride movement. Also, coming up the week after that, on Saturday, August 13th, 2016, we're going to be on a panel discussion with Professor James Small, with Brother Red Pill, with Brother Sarnetta, and Brother Sankofa, all out of New York, and Brother Irritated Genie, yours truly, out of Washington, D.C., all on the panel. Brother Dr. Issa's throwing this. We're going to be watching Hidden Colors 4. And like I told you before, I have to admit, brothers and sisters, Hidden Color 4 is one of the best products of, I'm going to say, from 2010, this whole decade. It's one of the top products that's out there. I'm just going to be 100% honest. It's worth every Black person investing in this one. I think they all have had tremendous impact on our people, but this one, honestly, it stands alone by itself. If you had none of the other ones, this one by itself is just incredible in terms of the quality of the information. The production is great as well, but the quality of the information is just, Tariq is doing a fantastic job with this. I mean, I got to say it. I got to put it where it is. It's phenomenal. I would suggest everybody go out and get Hidden Colors 4. But we're actually going to be doing a live screening of it, so you want to come out and watch it. Again, Saturday, August 13, 2016. It's going to be from 12 p.m. Noon to 4 p.m. at the Brooklyn Restoration. That's 1368 Fulton Street, Brooklyn, New York, 11216. Again, that's 1368 Fulton Street, Brooklyn, New York, 11216. And this is free, totally free event. You want to come on out. It's going to be hosted by Sarnetta Studios. And again, you have a panel discussion, Professor James Small, Red Pill, Sankofa, and Brother Irritated Genie. You want more information, 302-465-3787. That's 302-465-3787. Free event, Black People Under Attack. That's right, it's called Black People Under Attack. So we're going to discuss that. We're going to watch Hidden Colors. We're going to ask the question, are we under attack as a race of people? And we're going to be there from noon to 4 p.m. at the Brooklyn Restoration Center. That's 1368 Fulton Street, Brooklyn, New York, 11216. Phone call to get more information, 302-465-3787, August 13, 2016. Then, of course, the very next weekend, the event of the summer, you heard what I said, the second annual International Straight Black Pride Movement Convention, Saturday, August 20th, 2016, Universal African Dance and Drum Ensemble, Irritated Genie, we're going to have Kaba Soul Singer, and of course, the featured presenter, we're going to have David Banner. That's right. Saturday, August 20th, 2016, the second annual International Convention of the Straight Black Pride movement. We're going to have our brother, my brother and yours, brother David Banner, at the Thurgood Marshall Center, 1816 12th Street Northwest, Washington, D.C., 20009. Again, that's the Thurgood Marshall Center, 1816 12th Street Northwest. That's 2 blocks from the subway station. So you want to come on out, go to eventbrite.com. You can get your tickets. Just put in David Banner at SBPM. That's Straight Black Pride Movement. David Banner at SBPM. Get your tickets now, brothers and sisters. If you're interested in vending, we have about 5 or 6 slots left. So email us at unity@straightblackpride.com and get those last few vendors slots. Again, that's unity@straightblackpride.com. Phone number 202-641-1766. Again, that's 202-641-1766 for more information, or you can go to the Straight Black Pride Movement on Facebook. All right. And so, of course, we have 2 days, 1 day featuring David Banner. And then our second day will be free day in the park. Come on out, get your feet on, hang out with the children, laugh, joke, eat food, just have a wonderful, merry African time. Murray, M-E-R-I, means love in our ancient Kemetic language. So come out and get a lot of Murray. You might meet that queen, brother, and even get married. Who knows? That's on Sunday, August 21st in the park, 1 o'clock to 5 p.m. So come on out, check it out. Now we're going to go ahead, brothers and sisters. I'm going to go ahead and play this because this is a very interesting call. There's a brother from the Zulu Nation who says he was one of the founding members. And I believe this was early on when Ronald Savage came out and made his claims about having been sexually abused by Greek Bambaataa. And I want you to listen to the call because now I have to warn you, there is some profanity. So there's a lot of profanity, actually. So I let everybody know if you have children and you don't want them to hear this, then you want to move them away from the phone. But basically, and I want you to hear it for yourself, but the brother calls up and essentially is trying to talk Ronald Savage out of making these statements public about what he's saying that Greek Bambaataa did to him. Very much like people have told Brother Poppy he shouldn't be making this public or whatever the case may be. And these are individuals in the Zulu Nation. And this brother said that he was there from the beginning in the Zulu Nation. So it's about a 10-minute part of the clip. It's a longer call, but I just took 10 minutes out of it because I want us to hear it. So sit back and listen because we're not really, the attack is not designed to be on this particular brother. What we have to understand is there's a rhythm to how we deal with sexual abuse in the Black community. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that we've never, as a race of people, had an honest discussion about this, the history of it, how it's happening, what's happening in our community, how many of us have been involved in one way or the other, touching people or being touched by people, particularly as children or even as adults or teenagers or whatever the case may be. And I don't think that we've come to grips with, you know, how sick we are as a people. And so now the time to have that discussion is coming out. And we're opening up the floodgates and the doors for this discussion. And so as much as I'm always, you know, anti-pedophile and, you know, kill them all, at this point, I do think that it's worth mentioning the fact that we have never had this discussion. And because we have never had this discussion, the honest truth is most people don't have a natural inclination to know how to handle these types of situations. And, you know, I had to really do some soul searching and think about that because I just had a natural inclination when I heard this to think something should be done, but I'd never been involved in it. So that would probably be the natural inclination. But what if somebody had done something to me and I'd done something to someone else and I just thought it was normal? And I never really considered that ever. And I'm not justifying anything, but I'm saying I want people to listen to this because I think that it really shows. Here you have a man that says, I've been sexually abused and it did tremendous damage to me, lifelong damage. And this individual did it to me and is doing it to others and it got to stop. And instead of being appreciated and people joining in and say, yeah, let's go make it stop. These are the kind of phone calls that people get. And I want you to listen to it. And we're going to talk about this on this program tonight.
Hello? Yo, Mick. Hey, what's up? Yo, what's going on with you, boy? Nah, everything is good. I know you're mad. How did you go out there and try to destroy all of our legacy? How would you do? Hello? Yeah, I'm here. So why would you go out there to try to destroy our legacy in front of a nigga that you know don't like us anyway? This motherfucker been attacking us forever, dog. Star's been attacking us forever. You're trying to bring down a motherfucking real organization that's been built, dude. Mm-hmm. And you talk to me, you talk to Briggs, man. No. You talk to Muhammad, you talk to Ahmed, you call us when you was going through your problem with Only none of us ever got mad. Like, yo, every y'all niggas argue about all your talk, blah, 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 blah. And then we go on I'm gonna call it a national network, dude. And you try to bring and destroy the brand that we are part of. I'm a part of this brand, dude. No. And that shit right there is like, yo, dog, why would my friend Ronald Savage was mad? Okay, we get it. You talked to me, B. He said, man, I was going to fucking bars, I was hanging out in motherfucking cake bars. I was like, what the fuck am I doing? We laughed. And he said, no, I can get out of that shit. Nigga, I got kids. Nigga, I got this. I'm like, got you, baby. You know, sometimes, you know, you do things that you didn't want to do, but no one forced anybody to do anything. But then when you take it upon yourself to say you were a minor, and Bam did this and Bam did that, that ain't cool. But then when you do these kind of things, it's like, fuck them niggas. That's what you're saying, but you're not saying it directly. Fuck them niggas. All of them motherfuckers. Dog, you just hurted everybody in our whole organization, bro. And we would not expect that from you. Anybody else who's like, man, fuck that nigga. You tear that nigga head off, man. Stomp him the fuck out, B. For real, B. He'll be missing in action. Man. These niggas. This is family, dog. Star hates us, man. He wants to damage us. You let a motherfucker try to damage us, bro. This is our world, B. You just fucked up and hit the button like a motherfucking suicide bomber, bro. And we didn't see that coming, man. We didn't see that coming, B. That ain't cool, B. Nobody fought. And I say it over and over again. I said it earlier today to Sam. Well, anything a motherfucker did, he wanted to do it, man. Ain't nobody forced nobody to do nothing, bro. Ain't nobody put no knife to their throat. Don't put no gun to their head. Don't take no back to their face. Niggas did what they wanted to do, man. Because they wanted to do that. Why is we hurting the brand that we have, man? This is a brand, B. This ain't no fucking friend. This is a brand, B. And then you allow this motherfucking cracker to call out Africa Bay about his name and use the universal Zulu Nation? That's fucked up, B.
Yeah, but I don't know why he's talking about the Zulu Nation, and you know, I need to straighten out, because that's my friends, you know. I mean, my thing is, y'all, you know how long I've been holding this shit in. I just could not take it anymore, man.
You keep telling me that every time you spoke to me. You told me you relieved it, and you spoke to, I don't know, when you did your book, you said you relieved it. When you talked about Daron, you relieved it. And you talked to me. You talked to me. Being around someone that you had sex in, and then they betrayed you. You don't know what that person is like to do at that point. How many people he implicates in things that he had? How many motherfuckers that he say was standing there? How many people he say was sitting there? That's not cool, B. I don't give a fuck, man. I'm 57 years old, man. Bam is 60 years old, man. Y'all are tearing us apart with the bullshit, man. If this was something that was on your mind, this shit should have been out 20 years ago, 25 years ago. You destroy a brand. You don't destroy a brand. You are trying to destroy a brand. And do you think, right mind, that everyone is going to call BC and say, yo, man, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do this. It ain't good, B. It ain't good, bro. It ain't good. It ain't good, man. That's all I'm going to say, bro. And it ain't cool. You went to a motherfucker who tried to destroy the... Look at every interview this nigga Star ever did, who always tried to deface the Zulu Nation and doing it through Africa Bam Body. Did he ever fuck Bam? Did Bam ever fuck him? Did he ever suck Bam's dick? Did Bam ever suck his dick? He's hearing hearsay. And it ain't cool, B. It just ain't cool. And you gave this man a platform For what reason? It had to be about money, bro. What about exposing my my heart?
Now that
my book is sitting there. My book is sitting there. No, I have a book sitting there. Evidently, I want motherfuckers to see that book. That cover.
Mick, see, now you disrespecting me. This shit ain't about no fucking money. I don't give a fuck about that. You know what I'm saying? Everyone, see now, when y'all come out like that right there just makes me say, fuck it.
I don't say fuck it, then fuck it. I ain't got no more to say to you, bro.
You know what I'm saying? Because it don't have nothing to do with that.
Well, say fuck it, bro. I'm gonna accept that, man. Ain't no, you just disrespected all of us, bro. And you talking about you feel disrespected and you disrespect the whole brand that we got?
I didn't do that. I didn't disrespect y'all. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna let it be known that the Zulu Nation don't have nothing to do with this. You know what I'm saying?
The guy is putting up our logo, University.
Listen, disrespecting the Zulu Nation is disrespecting me. I'm Zulu. I'm Zulu for life, and I'll straighten that out. This don't have nothing to do with y'all. This is what happened to me, what Bam did to me. I had to get it out. And I want people to respect that, man. Like, yo, come on, man. Like, yo, I've been living with this shit. And I've been telling people know over the years, and people Ben told me I should have said something. But no, me, I'm protecting Bam. You know what I'm saying? I'm a victim, and I still protected him.
How you become a victim, bro? Tell me how you was a victim.
Because I was young. I didn't know what the fuck, yo. You know what I'm saying? I did it. This is Bam. Like, yo, man, like, come on, man. And sometimes, yo, I was nervous, man. I was scared. I didn't know who to turn to. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know who to turn to. And the first person that brought Bam to my house, I'm not even saying their name. So they need to chill the fuck out. And that person know who it is. I ain't say shit. You know what I'm saying? I ain't say shit. I kept that person 100% out of it because I love that person. I would never, ever say who brought Bam to my house. You know what I'm saying? And Bam did all that shit to me. And Bam kept coming back to my house, until I got tired of it and I didn't answer my fucking door no more. Come on, man. I had to cross my legs and Bam putting his dick in between my legs and humping me. I was a fucking kid. And I wish everybody understand that. Y'all don't know the pain that I stuck with. I couldn't even touch hands with people. Come on, man. Yo, man. I didn't even like to be touched. I had to brace myself just for my girlfriend to fucking touch me, man. Nobody knows what I went through. Everybody want to protect Bam. That's about money. My shit ain't about no money. You know what I'm saying? It has nothing to do with that. And my friend, no. The only friends I have is y'all. Why the hell would I want to disrespect my relationship with my friends? Y'all are my only friends. This don't have nothing to do with y'all.
Star hates us, bro.
Yeah, but that's y'all and Star. That's y'all and Star. That's not me. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. Like, yo, man, I wish y'all stopped, man. Like, y'all know what happened. So stop covering for him. That's the thing that makes me mad, man. I'm not mad at none of y'all. I fucking love y'all niggas to death, yo. I love y'all to death, man. To death. Y'all my brothers, man. You know what I'm saying? Mickey, if that shit happened, if you had a son and that shit happened to him, what would you want your son to do? Come on, man.
Motherfuckers have gay kids, and them kids wanted to do what they do. We hope they don't turn like that. But when it happened, you're like, you know what? Was he forced? If he was forced, I'm killing that motherfucker. No, he wasn't forced. Okay. I mean, okay. I'm so okay. But damn, what the fuck? Why would he do? You know, because motherfucker just did it, B. And it's like, yo.
So, played that tonight, brothers and sisters. What I don't want to do, I didn't put the name of the person who actually made that call on the. I didn't put the name of the person who made the call. I'm really not tonight. I wanted people to hear that because I think it's so important for us to understand. We hear people all the time say that people cover for sexual abuse. But here we have a real living example and situation where, and let me give out the call-in number for anybody that wants to call in. The call-in number is 425-569-5186. Again, it's 425-569-5186. And I want people to kind of give me one moment, brother and sister. I'm sorry, I gotta send a number to somebody. It's 425-569. You know, we used to have a different number, but they changed it on us, so we got a new one. 5186, and it should be the number from here on out. Okay, so at any rate, if you listen to the call, and I think people would agree with this, you know, I don't need to reinterpret that whole phone call for you, but I think it's very important for people to realize this individual was far more concerned about, he said it, we have to protect the brand. He's talking about the brand called the Zulu Nation. And the Zulu Nation brand was more important than protecting the children in the Zulu Nation or dealing with the circumstances that happened with this brother, Ronald Savage, when he was a child. And I'm going to say something, and I don't want anybody to interpret this wrongly, because y'all already know what my position has been on pedophilia from the beginning. But in more recent days, I've realized something, and it's brought, you know, to light, and it's something I think we really need to discuss. I'm gonna do some phone calls with people that want to talk, and then I'm gonna go into some history, not just history. I'm gonna go and show people what's really happening with this homosexual agenda, how it's becoming really a homophile agenda, a pedophile agenda, how it always was a pedophile agenda, but right now show people how serious it is that we make some important decisions in our interests, lest we end up in a situation, brothers and sisters, where we're not able to really, if we don't jump on this now, you know, it's done, because they're going to take our children from us. And once our children are all pedophiles or homosexuals, we're done. For years, when I started doing this in 96, 95, 96, 97, doing the lectures, the feminization of the black male, I didn't like homosexuality. And thus, I didn't like homosexuals. It was just where I grew up, we called them faggots when I was growing up in Southeast. That's what it was called. That's how I was looked at. It was the worst thing you could be. I didn't even understand exactly what it was. I just knew dudes like dudes. I didn't know what they did, didn't want to know. And it was just the whole culture said it was this horrible thing. So I'm doing a lecture, did some research, did not know any of it had anything to do with Europeans, white folks. When I did the research, I was blown away to find out there was a whole culture in Europe, and that it was really pedophilic, that they liked little boys. I mean, when I found this stuff out, NAMBLA and all this stuff, it totally freaked me out. But from 97 to about probably 2005, maybe 2003. So I say about 6 years in talking about it. It took me about that long to come to the realization. Probably about 10 years if I put it all together, to really realize whenever I'm in a room speaking about homosexuality, and it's black people, 70% or more of the people in there have had some type of experience, whether they were sexually abused, they tried this kind of they're involved in homosexuality, they've had a lesbian experience, some kind of way have some, or they have a family member. If we even go to a close family member, we probably close on 90%. Somebody that has a family, a close family member. We talk about mother, father, sister, brother, son, daughter, cousin, you know, very close family member. They're involved in it. They've had an experience one way or the other, whether it was willing or unwilling, intentional or unintentional, whether they knew what they were doing or they didn't know what they were doing. So you're dealing with, probably, if you include them having a close family member, you're probably talking about 90% of people, aunt, uncle, have some relation. So I realized, hey, I realized, wow, it's not these 10 homosexuals that we just get rid of this thing, the problem is gone. It became part of our culture. We have to root it out of our culture, which means, yes, we have to be hostile to it, but we have to dig in and see why it's happening. And we have to focus on prevention. And we have to have a piece of it that's healing for people that have gone through it. And we have to have punitive measures for those that do it. We have to have all of these things. And if you try to eliminate any of them, you can't fix the problem. If you do not have the punitive measure for people, adults that rape children, then it's useless. We might as well just go ahead and surrender as a race. Because if you're not going to make punitive measures, nothing's going to change. Because once a person becomes a lifetime pedophile, they can't turn it off. And they're not going to turn it off. The only way to turn it off is get turned off. It's not a debate. It's not up for debate or option. They have to be dealt with. It's just a reality. People who may have done things as a child may be a little different. Maybe something that they're not living in a lifelong life of it, and maybe they can make an adjustment. I don't have all the answers because we're talking about a very serious situation. What I do know is this. We got to have all three. We got to have the prevention, where we have the dialogue and understanding. This is what this actually, we got to have four things. One, we have to have understanding. We have to have a system that says, this is what sexual abuse is. This is how it works. This is what we have to do when it occurs. That's the first thing. We have to have an understanding of exactly what's going on, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable, and how it's going to be handled. We've got to have this dialogue. We got to talk about what led to this. We got to open this thing wide up so that it's a African world dialogue that we say, this is what's going on. Here's the realness of what's going on. Now we have to reverse it. So we have to have the dialogue and open discussion and reality and agreement on what we're going to do to fix this. Two, we have to have prevention. Here's how we prevent it so that no more children go through this. So that if somebody says something to child, who they can go to and with the process, we got to have that up there. All right, so prevention. Three, we got to have healing, because the vast majority of our people on some level are dealing with it, whether it's a family member or themselves, the pain they face, sexual abuse. The vast majority of our people in the world do. And fourth, we got to have punitive measures. Okay, we got to start taking some folks out. What level is it that we say, when you're doing this, no more playing games? This is African law, black law. We're not playing. We don't care what nobody says. This is our law. We're going to defend our children and our future and our sanity. So those are four levels that we got to have. I'm saying that to say, right now, as we have this dialogue, and it's really, really, really humbling for me. But it took me 10 years to realize, wow, I'm in a room full of people. When I deliver my message against homosexuality, I know how to do it so that if a person would get out of it, they will consider that. And it has a healing power. It's not just, oh, we hate homosexuality. It's not like that anymore. And it was in the beginning. It was far more death sentence, because I saw it as, we black folks, then you got these few homosexuals, and really this is a white thing. They got to go. I didn't realize, wow, this is in our families. It's in our culture. It's everywhere. And people need help. Even though we still got to get rid of it, I didn't realize how deep it was entrenched. You deal with something different that's new and dangerous, that's a threat, then you deal with it when it's culture. Because when it's a threat, if you got 1,000 people and one of them is a rapist, you can kill them. Because now you got rid of the rapist, and you can decide, how you deal with the victims and help whatever the case may be. But at any rate, it doesn't take a whole lot. You have to sacrifice one or two people. But at the end of the day, once you make the sacrifice, the whole group continues to go on and be safe from the situation. When 300 of 1,000 of people are dealing with something, it's culture now. It's deeply ingrained. You can't just go get rid of 300 because it's not that easy. You're talking about 30% of the people. So it's deeply ingrained with ties and all kind of stuff going on. You have to uproot it. And it's a very, very sophisticated process and a deep process. You can't deal with it just as like you dealt with the other one, because it's not as cut and dry. For years, it took me 10 years to realize that the homosexuality was that widespread in our community on a real basis. Now, I have to be honest. We only talking about the last couple of months. So it means it took me 20 years. Even longer. It took me, I learned when I was 15, so 25, 35. Taking me 27 years, no, 26 years, 28 years to realize when I go into a room if 75% of the people have either been sexually abused or had some kind of homosexual experience or whatever the case may be, on some level, 50% of them have participated in some form of pedophilia. Even if it was not them going and hunting a child, they may have been 8, the child may have been 5. Something may have happened to them and they did it to somebody else. So we're talking about a cyclical thing where you have people who, and I found this out. I was talking to a sister and she told me her story. And she told me when she was a child, her mother's boyfriend, a stepfather, actually, I think, molested her from, I don't know, it was 3 or 6 to like 15 or something. I mean, just, whew. And, actually, I was talking to a husband and wife, and the sister told me the story. And she talked about, the damage he did. I mean, some of the stories, some of the things she explained, the depth of it was just, I'll share it with you because I want us to really start dealing with what we're talking about. This guy was so sick. He used to take a hot dog when the mother wasn't around and then, simulate sexual things with the hot dog looking at her. What he wanted her to, what he was going to force her to do to him. Or he would take an egg after he boiled it and squish it. Say, what does that look like? And I'm sure everybody out there know what I'm talking about. He did to the little child, man. So she was very damaged. And the sister said that, and it was very hard for her to share it, but it was deep because it really made me go, okay, man, I had to recalibrate. Because she said, when I got 9, she had a family member that was maybe 4 or something like that. And she wanted to say what was happening to her. She wanted it to come out, but she didn't know how to say it. So she would do some very hard, violent sexual things to this young girl based on what was happening to her because she wanted that young girl to tell so that then she could tell what was happening to her. The young girl didn't tell. She did that for a while to her while she was there. And then when she left, she didn't do it anymore. She didn't see her ever again. But she said, she feels so bad and she wished she could go and find her and apologize. And so I'm sitting there listening to someone who's saying they're being haunted by an act of violation to another child. But then the sister told me something that really, 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 man. She said when she was 13, she went into a bathroom. And she said she saw a 2-year-old little white female in the bathroom. She's by herself going to the bathroom. And she said she felt the most compelling urge. She said she cannot describe the feeling to go and touch that little girl. She said it was like something out of a vampire movie or something. I mean, the way that she described it, it had me really in chills. And she said something triggered in her mind. And she said, I am becoming a monster. She said, I'm not going to become a monster. Something's wrong with me. And she left the bathroom. And she said she never touched a child. But she said she remembers realizing I have to, whatever's going on here, I have to fight this. And there was nowhere she could go and no one she could talk to about this. She just had to make the definitive decision not to be that way and not to do that. And she didn't. And that's not who she became, but she was honest enough. And it was so important because, see, I didn't realize. I know that the pedophile, the one that gets into a life of this, once they get in and get a taste for it, they're not stopping. What I didn't know is that there's perhaps, and I don't know this for sure, this is one story I heard like this, but there's a breaking point, a point of consciousness where an individual becomes aware of what this is, if it happens to them when they're young, and then they realize, hey, wait a minute, this is something that's not right. And I'm feeling compelled to go do this to someone else. This is wrong. And they can make a decision and they can stop. Now, I don't know, like, I don't want to make a dangerous assessment and say that you can stop a pedophile. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying for someone who is only doing what was done to them, but does not understand what they're doing, perhaps if they can understand it, there may be a place where they say, oh, this is wrong. I'm not going to do that. But what she was telling me is that having been abused, she had a she described it as a hunger. And when she described it to me, I really was like shook because, of course, I'm like, oh, pedophiles got to go. But then I'm listening to her. I'm saying, well, this could be classified as that, but that's not how I feel about this sister. Because what she's telling me, I mean, she had children and a family and a husband. She's not doing that. And she feels terrible about what she did to that little girl as a child. And she did not do it when she was a teenager to this girl, but she felt like doing it. And she realized consciously that something's wrong here. And it was driven by this pedophile that did this to her, which we know he was molested as well. So I'm saying all this to say, there's somebody we got to identify to say they got to go. Ain't no two ways about it. But I think the piece of the conversation that hasn't happened is we've got to get to a point where we have an open dialogue. And that's why my brother Poppy is so important. That's why brother Ronald Savage is so important. Because they have created an environment where the necessity to have this dialogue becomes absolute. You really can't run from it. We can't ignore the Greek Mambata situation. It's nothing to not discuss. It can't be not discussed. We have to discuss it. We have to talk about it. We have to do something about it. Because it's right in front of our face. And there's nowhere we can go with it. You know, there's nowhere to run from it. And I thought about this a few years ago. It hit me and I said, man, it's a real problem. I never wanted to say it because I didn't want to sound like I was giving any excuses. But what I realized was a child gets sexually abused and goes and talks to somebody about what happened. We don't have any guidelines about what to do in that situation. We haven't had a racial discussion. We haven't discussed this. So the reality of it is, I know what should be done. But I thought about it on some level, yeah, but I'm a man. I have a natural inclination to know what should be done, and it never happened to me. So I know how sick it is because it's so vile. But I'm not a person that went through it to think, well, this is kind of what I went through and I did it. I don't have any of that. So I can't relate to it, and therefore I can be harsh about it. I'm saying that to say not that we should relate to it. We got to be harsh about it, but we got to have the dialogue because everyone should know this is what you have to do. And if you don't, you become part of being complicit with this situation. I don't think we've had that conversation. In fact, I know we haven't. So it becomes a situation where if we know that this is a national, international problem in the Black community, and we have not opened this floodgates up to have this dialogue in every school, in every place with Black people, every project, every Black community, every urban area, every park, this should be the dialogue that we have so that we can say, how do we systematically root this out of our race? Because it's not just in America, it's not just in Brazil, it's not just in Puerto Rico. Anywhere you find Black people, this is happening. It's happening to other races too, but we're talking about our own people. This is happening to our people all over the world. And so we're compelled as Africans to be responsible to do something about it. And in doing something about it, that means we got to get up off our behind and say, hey, this got to stop. And in doing that, only way to do that is to do it and to have the dialogue. And we haven't done that yet. And so when I listen to the situation, I'm not giving any passes. We got a lot of people that is supporting pedophiles. And you hear the brother in this conversation with Poppy justify, oh, people did what they want to do. Now you're blaming the child and blaming the victim. We were being possessed with the European personality and spirit. We blaming a child for this kind of vile thing. We actually got to have the dialogue to put this and classify this behavior. This is European behavior. This is African behavior. This is called pedophilia and sexual abuse of children. It's unacceptable. This is how it occurs. If you're a child, you cannot do this to another child because this is what the impact will be on their life. Listen to this person tell you what happened to them and how it affected them. Listen to this person tell you how when things happen to them and they did this to other people. And have this dialogue and let us all begin to have this dialogue and get it out so that we can say, okay, we're sick. We're going to heal ourselves though. Because, and I'm going to go to my phone lines because after we have a few calls, then I'm going to go in. I want to show you what the threat is if we don't do this. So I got to run you through a few things that I want people to understand. We're not doing this for games. What we're facing is the greatest threat. There's no threat like this. And I'm going to show you tonight instead of telling you. It just dawned on me tonight. I put it together fast because I realized people need to see this to have a real understanding. Why is this brother calling Ronald Savage the victim, blaming him for his own victimization, and more concerned about the image of the group that he's a part of as opposed to the violation of one of his sons of his movement? because that is the tagline that black people have been given. The church is more concerned about the image of the preacher or the church than they are the children that's being abused, so they don't address it. The mother is more concerned about the image of the family or the money that the man brings in to feed the family than she is about the protection of the child. Most times because she was sexually abused too, she's been through it and she's like, hey, that's the way it works. Or it's just so sick she doesn't want to deal with it. Some men, I don't really understand. I can't speak to why a man would have a child tell him something happened to him and wouldn't act. I just don't. I don't know. Or maybe if it's a child that did it, he doesn't want to take the life of a child, or he doesn't want to take life. The only thing a man can think when you say that I got to protect my child, now I have to be vengeance and kill somebody, but I still want to be there for my child. So I can understand a little bit of conflict there, but the only thing I can see a man can want to do is kill somebody to put their hands on his child sexually. I don't understand how, even if he can't do it, or even if it's not smart for him to do it because he can't do it and get away with it, he doesn't want to lose his children. So he thinks of another option. But at the end of the day, it's the only thing I can understand a man would want to do. But I will say this. It should not be left up for an individual to figure out what to do. Because we have the Eddie Longs of the world molesting a bunch of children, boys, and the women are taking their sons back to the church. And they're going to the church with the molester, a pedophile. And it's a bunch of them. It's not just him. I mean, I was watching today, Baby was interviewing on First Take. And they have Baby, a rapper, on First Take. This is the same homophile that was preying on Lil Wayne and these other young brothers. And in exchange for money, he was getting whatever he gets, the goodies he was getting or whatever. Some kind of sick, perverse, homophile environment, and it's all around us. And it's happening everywhere. It's overtaking the entire system that we're dealing with, our entire lives. And so we got to understand this thing. So the dialogue tonight is about understanding that we have to open with Brother Poppy. He's a hero. We got to wrap arms around this brother, protect him, and give him a platform to come out and tell what's happening. Because the more he tells his story and the things that happened to him and the things that were going on, and the more it opens up, the more Ronald Savage talks about what's going on and shares this type of information, the more people can hear what's going on. The more people start going, wow, this is a major problem. And I did something to somebody when I was younger, or somebody did something to me when I was younger, and maybe it's having an impact on me too. Maybe this is why I'm a homosexual. Maybe this is why I'm a lesbian. Maybe this is why I'm an alcoholic. Maybe this is why I'm having so many problems that I'm having. And we have a video called Predators in Our Midst that we designed specifically for people who are victims of sexual abuse. Put it up for free for you. Go to YouTube, put in Predators in Our Midst, or go to Irritated Genie Speaks, the page on YouTube. Go to that Irritated Genie Speaks page, go down, Predators in Our Midst. Put it out there for free. We sell it, so we ask people to buy it, but this is such a serious crisis. You need healing. You need understanding. We need to understand how to protect our children. It's out there for free for people because our people need it. This is very important. I'm going to go to the phone lines, but I want to have a dialogue because, yes, we got to deal with the pedophiles. But we got to have the dialogue so that people understand what's going on. People got to come out and start talking so that the children can talk. And then we can look at how sick we are and go, wow, we're sick. But you know what? We're going to heal ourselves. But we can't heal ourselves until we talk about how sick we are. And Brother Poppy is telling us how sick we are. Brother Ronald Savage is telling us how sick we are. These men are so brave. So many sisters before them were brave and told their story. So I don't want to play the male-female thing. So many sisters have come out, bravely told their stories. So I want to commend all the sisters and brothers who come out and told their story. Lavernius Cole's a brother football player, came out and told his story, football player. Many sisters, so many it's hard to start naming them because we've had many sisters on our programs. Sister Halima has come and shared her story with us. And so many of you other brothers and sisters calling, you know you've shared your story. We appreciate you. Right now, I'm saying we got a brother who's two brothers who are helping us in real time with someone that's a popular figure. We got to do the whole part of the thing. We got to talk about here's what happened. So we have knowledge and understanding. We got to talk about prevention. Zulu Nation's got to say we're not going to allow none of this stuff to happen again. Let's get it all out. Every child come forward. Let everybody talk and tell their stories. And now we're going to figure out how we're going to stop this, whether it's the Zulu Nation stopping it or not, whether the Zulu Nation goes on or not. The Bronx got to say, hey, it's got to stop. Every black community got to say it's got to stop. Can't stop until we have the dialogue. If it's to the after prevention, it's the third stage. And then finally, I'm forgetting the third stage right now, recovery. For people who are sick and dealing with all kind of pain, we got to have the psychologists that can bring them in and help them with the sister Delena's, who we actually going to have on next week. She's going to come on and we're going to do a whole thing about healing from sexual abuse. This is what she does for a living. And we're going to talk about dealing with the pain from sexual abuse. So anybody that you know that's been through this, you want them to tune in next week. We also going to reach out and see if we can get our sister Patricia Newton in to do the first half of the program. And the last part of the program will be our sister Delana Dobbins from Chicago, who works in this field. And what she likes to focus on is helping Black family counseling. And one of the main things is getting over the pain from sexual abuse and getting back to your normal, vibrant African self. So these are things we need to do. And then we got to have that last one, the punitive measure, to say, hey, even in this situation, okay, we got all these things down, but this guy's a bad guy. Got to be dealt with. So that everybody sees in this process, we got a full process. And the last part ain't no come tell your story about what you did to all these boys. That ain't it. You can tell that story, then you got to get your consequences too. So that we see that there's a system in place to say, okay, this is how we're going to handle this. Let's get healed. But if you come in trying to stop the healing, we're going to deal with you. If you're too sick to be healed, then we got to have a resolution, because we can't have you violating any more children. Nobody can do this no more, not even children. We all got to come together and fix this. And that's why we played this. It wasn't about this brother in particular. What he did is reminiscent or is symptomatic of what we do as a race of people when we hear about stories of sexual abuse. We run from them because we don't want to have to deal with it, because it's just so deep, such a depth of a problem. And it's very, very serious. I'm going to our phone lines now. I'm going to take a couple of phone calls. Hit the number 1 if you want to make a comment. And then I'm going to go to the calls and comments. Then I'm going to go through a process showing our people what's at stake and why it's so important that we fight this whole pedophilia and homosexuality, because all homophilia in the direction things are going. So let me go to my first call, 2682. Remember, no N-word tonight. I know there was some N-words in this, but I didn't have time to edit this call. I just thought it was too important for us to wait to play. So, but we still don't use the N-word. And of course, we always say our greetings is praise Nat Turner, glory to God, long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. For you to be heard, that's what you'll say here on this program tonight. Let me bring in my brother Tad, Northeast Regional Director of the Straight Black Pride Movement. Praise Nat Turner, glory to Garvey, long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad.
Praise Nat Turner, glory to Garvey, and long live the spirit of the most honorable Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. Genie brother, that clip was so troubling. To listen to that was so troubling. The undertone of threats from the caller, trying to insinuate nobody forced you. Nobody forced you. Aside from a threat, people use intimidation tactics, and I'm certain that that's what went on with our brother Poppy and our brother Ron Savage. So here the brother's expressing his pain and it's being minimized like F your feelings. It's pretty much what he's telling Ronald. And then saying he's disrespecting him for speaking his truth. He said, hey, I'm lost, man. See, these homo thugs thought they could get away with this. Thought that people would get scared. But these thugs and gangsters get old. And old people get weak and feeble. Especially when you're not living right. You don't have people to protect you. So now they think from undertones of threats and intimidation tactics is going to work. Because I'm listening to the conversation. Brother Ron said, if that was your son, how would you feel? He said, well, if he did it on his own, then I wouldn't like it, but hey. I'm like, wow, he was throwing his baby to the wall. So that's not a man that even made that call. It's just so, it's painful, man. That was painful to listen to.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
How much do you think the way he handled that represents the standard way that we, or close to the standard way that we as Black people deal with this type of situation? Was this an anomaly, or is this what we do when somebody comes forward with an allegation against somebody that we like or love, or think that we like or love?
Unfortunately, this is the norm. This is the norm. Everyone that I know that's been sexually abused told the person that's supposed to protect them whether it was their mother, whether it was grandma. Those people was like, well, don't say that, or you're lying. It's just unbelievable. And this is how the cycle perpetuates itself. Because we're just, as black people, we were taught to just suffer in silence. We don't even go to the doctor when things ail us. We don't go to the doctor until we damn near dead. Because we're just taught to suffer in silence. Even in religion. Life will get better. It get better in the afterlife. You suffer now, just give it to Jesus, and it get better when you're dead. And we got to stop this. We got to stop the pain. We have to, because our people are so mentally damaged now, just trying to walk around with this baggage and this pain, and we're just passing it on to one another. You know, so we have damaged relationships with our spouses, with our parents, with our children, with our co-workers, with our friends. So we don't even know how to have proper sexual relations, or even know what proper sex is anymore. Because the brother said he told him keep his legs closed. While you know, the sickness of it, the sickness of it all. The sickness, it's all the same. For what Bambaataa did, for anybody to even try to justify what he's done. How could you? How dare you? And then get mad at Brother Ron for speaking his truth. He's talking about the pain that he has. He can't even have a proper relationship with his female because of the psychological damage that he had to endure. And he's supposed to be wrong. They're stuck on the phone telling him he's wrong because they want to protect a brand. Damn the brand. Damn the brand. I'm sorry, man. I'm people out of their mind. Out of their ever-loving mind, man.
Let me ask you this.
He's trying to justify it.
And he is. And I'm not making, I want to be clear. And I don't need to explain it to you. You already know where I'm at with the whole thing. So I don't need to keep saying it. But I'm not saying this is any kind of excuse. What I am saying is, would you agree that we have not established, first of all, we have not had an open dialogue where we brought this thing out into the open where people can feel comfortable to come and talk about what has happened to them, what they've done, and get everything out and say, hey, this is what's going on in our community. And this is what happened, and we got to fix this. Would you agree that we haven't had the dialogue so that to some level, we don't know, like we may instinctively know, but there's not a standard in our community of what is done when a child is sexually abused and it comes to our attention. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, it is. Because I think the thing is, we got to consistently have that conversation. Because, you know, I know my family members have put hands on people who are, you know, touched people in my family some years back. You know, a couple of people got hands that he put on them. So we know what the outcome is, but the thing is, we don't have the conversation enough. We don't, and I like how you open the show. You know, we talk about prevention, we talk about the healing, and we talk about the consequences. See, we gotta have that, and we gotta take that holistic approach to have all three. Because sometimes we'll just talk about the prevention, or sometimes somebody will admit it and they'll just talk about the healing, or somebody just have a conversation and it's just about the consequences. No, it has to be a holistic approach, you know, so that we're clear on this is how we prevent it. But if it should happen, we're going to have to help you heal so that you don't do this to someone else. But the perpetrator definitely has to get dealt with. They have to deal with the consequences.
So let me
It has to be a holistic approach.
So let me ask you this then, because this is where I'm going with this. And I ain't talking about a guy like Greek Bambaataa, but I'm talking about the people who knew what he was doing. And I'm not excusing him. It's a real question. And in this 4-part process, to me, it's awareness, because you can't really have prevention until it's aware, until a lot of people know this goes on all the time and we got to do something. We got to have awareness. Then we got to say, okay, dealing with it afterwards, it's too late. Let's deal with it beforehand. So we got to have prevention. Then healing. Hey, it's already happened. We got to have healing so that the person doesn't go insane or go in more to this madness. And then lastly, we got to have consequences so that the folks that would get 300 children, after the first 2, if we find out after the first 2, he only got 2 instead of 300 or 100. Or if he got 60, he ain't going to get 61, you know? Is it fair to say, though, that since we haven't had the conversation, there may be people, a woman who has a 5-year-old son, and she's told that this guy does something to her son, or better yet, a 13-year-old daughter, and this guy is 25, and she says he did something to her, and she kind of believes the girl, but she thinks that halfway blames the girl. Is it fair to say that, God, I don't want to give her no room, but I'm asking a question. Is it fair to say if we don't have a community that says this is how this is dealt with, that if he does that to a 13-year-old, he's a pedophile, and this is what we do when that happens, and this is the established rules, and you cannot do X, Y, and Z, and if you do that, if you blame your daughter when this happens, then you are now aiding and abetting a pedophile, and that makes you this, whatever we call that. Since we don't have that in place, is it fair to say we're partly responsible as a community for not having clearly established what this whole thing is about and how we're going to deal with it, and what everybody's responsibilities and roles is in the process?
Yeah, it is our responsibility. And that's why the time is now. You know, a lot of times people look in the past and wonder why nobody never did nothing before. We're the people. And if we don't do this, it won't get done. And this will be another generation or two or three that slip through the cracks and become victims of sexual abuse. So you're 100% right with that. Because some women need to be held accountable, as well as some men. Anybody who knows about this and doesn't do anything needs to be held accountable. Because this is what drives our people crazy. It's not just the sexual abuse. It's the point that here I want to tell my mother, you know, to get some type of protection and security from this monster, and she turns her back. I think that's what hurt people more than anything. The people that's supposed to protect you don't, even when you tell them you need protection. You know.
All right.
So we have to hold them accountable too. I agree with you.
All right. Well, fantastic call, brother. As always, you brought that spirit. I'm glad you were the first caller because you really brought the right kind of energy to this conversation, brother. And you want to tell people what you're going to be talking about Thursday night, of course, brother. This is the Northeast Regional Director of the Straight Black Pride Movement, the Sister Keisha, our beautiful Sister Keisha, one of the leaders in the Straight Black Pride Movement, and Brother Tad. Every Thursday night, 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time, they have the Straight Black Talk program. What y'all going to be talking about this Thursday, my brother?
All right, we may be streaming live from Dr. Esau's Dr. Clark and Dr. Ben lecture series. Dr. Esau will be presenting. We're trying to work out the technicalities of it all to broadcast live. But we will also have our brother Sergeant and Brother Ashe and the Northeast Regional Youth Director, our sister Adi will also, both of them will be our guests on our show. Two powerful people, very instrumental to what we're doing here in New York. And we got a lot of big things going on and coming up. So Sister Keisha and I, we're real excited about having them both on the show. You know, because I mean, we're about to turn up. We're about to turn up. That's all I can say, brother.
All right.
People what they've been waiting for. You know?
All right. All right. Well, brother, do what you're doing. We're looking forward to that this Thursday, and keep doing the great work you're doing up there in New York, brother, and Straight Black Pride.
Straight Black Pride, my brother.
All right. All right. Another shout out to my brother Saleh Rowe for a fantastic weekend. Baba Baruti. Man, if y'all have never seen Baba Baruti, please go to cobenhouse.com. Please buy some of those books. He's the mind bender, man. That's what I call him, the mind bender. Once he starts speaking, he has the power to take information and just grab your mind, no matter what condition it's in, and just re-Africanize it. Very, very powerful this weekend. Brother Tab was there as well. So DC chapter and the Mid-Atlantic region and the Northeast region, Straight Black Pride, were in the house. Let me go 3197. Praise Nat Turner. Glory to Garvey. Long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad.
Praise Nat Turner. Glory to Garvey. Long live the spirit of the most honorable Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. What's going on, Brother Genie?
Hey, man. Trying to fight that fight, man. Come on here. Talk to me, bro.
Well, first I want to say that, you know, I want to thank all of the warriors, you know, like yourself, Brother Tad, Brother Baruti, you know, just the whole family United Front, because I just got put on to all of y'all this year, you know. Well, once I got put on to you, then that stemmed to United Front, because I saw them in your lecture, and then Brother Baruti, and, you know, all of that stuff. So, and also, I think it's significant that it's August 1st, right, being that this is the month of the Nat Turner insurrection.
That's right.
you know, I think it's fitting that your show is on the 1st of the month. So I just want to say that. Shout out to that. And praise Nat Turner again. But I feel like for me, one of the things that I do is I talk about the sexual abuse every day. Like, my whole thing is to start, you know, it's the whole 12-step program with the alcoholics. The first step is admitting you have a problem. So no matter what you're going through in life, if you can't get to step 1, admitting you have a problem, which we as a people, we got to get to that step 1 with this, you know. So I just, you know, I raise awareness every day. I make sure I tell somebody new the statistics, you know, and that is the #1 basis behind all of our sicknesses right now.
That's right. Excellent.
Yeah.
You got anything else for us? I think it's an excellent comment.
No, I just want to say, you know, to the listeners, encourage us to keep striving in this fight. You know, whether you're a cleanser, you're a healer, you know, get your knowledge on it. Follow those 4 steps, like you were saying. I don't remember it exactly, but we gotta follow those 4 steps, because the step I like the most is that 4th one, which is the consequences. You know, so, but we can't rush to that. We can't rush to step 4 as much as some of us would like to. So, I mean, this is just a real deep issue, you know, and I just encourage everybody, go get Brother Genie's work, go look at all the past lectures, the feminization of the black male and all of that, especially, and look up Brother Barudi's work, because we have to see the origin of it. And the origin is when they was raping us on them boats. And then the forced incest and the forced raping and forced pedophilia. It's crazy. It's just crazy.
Absolutely, my brother. Well, definitely appreciate that call. It's strong, and continue to do what you say like you do. You say you talk every day as a people. We suffering from it. And if you can bring awareness to it, which is the first stage, to get people to realize, yeah, it's not just me, this is going on, and we got to do something about it, then we well on our way to the next stage, which is prevention. And say, hey, look, this is going on, this is how we prevent it. So keep doing what you're doing, brother. We appreciate your constant support, these words. Sometimes that's all we got to keep us moving forward. Is brothers and sisters like yourself saying, hey, the work is helping me be stronger, so y'all don't stop, and then we just keep going, brother. So we appreciate your contribution, and straight black pride.
No, I appreciate you, brother. Straight black pride.
All right, that's right. It's Nat Turner month, brothers and sisters. Haitian Revolution month, the month of black rebellion. So, hey, go ahead and rebel. 2776, praise Nat Turner. Glory to God. Long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. 2776. 2776.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry. 2776. Praise Nat. Go ahead, brother.
Praise Nat Turner. Glory to God. Long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. This is your brother, Marcus Nephilim, calling from the loop. And want to give a shout out to you and all of the others who are really putting in the very, very important work. This is extremely important work. And, you know, it came out of nowhere. You know, I here locally, I've been working, trying to be an example in the community. I'm a leader of 2 organizations, including one organization I think you're familiar with, the Junior Black Chamber of Commerce.
Yes, sir.
As well as I'm a member of I'm a manager in the Universal African Peoples Organization. But aside from that, I'm a black businessman. I've owned my business for over 20 years. I employ black men and try to help them put food on their table. And I've tried to be an example. I've been married for 20 years to the same woman. And I just try to live the example I talk about. But in this regard, when you talk about this whole idea of pedophilia, this is such an unexpected subject and mission you know, but the importance of it is so heavy. But it's even difficult to talk about. I mean, I was invited to a party with a very strong conscious brother real recently. And a lot of people at the party, and we had dinner, and we were sitting at the table discussing a plethora of issues. And then, you know, I brought up this issue, and everybody was vocal, making their opinions, strong opinions on everything from polygamy to you know, to black nationalism, to everything. Everybody's vocal. But when I brought this subject up right here, you can almost hear a pin drop. And the only thing I can think of is, I've been at this table, I'm guilty of this shit. You know, I'm beginning to worry. I mean, it's something that really never took root in my family, as far as I'm aware of. You know, I was step children, my sister, my brother, myself, but 3 in a row, and then I have a younger sister, 10 years younger, and a younger brother, 11 years younger. But to my knowledge, it hasn't really creeped into our family that I'm aware of. But to bring this up, and how few people are willing to talk about it, how people clam up, you know, I'm like, what's going on, man? How do you do this thing? You know, when people are so vocal about everything else, and everybody get quiet and get this, how many kids have you guys touched? You know, what is the purpose of this tight-knitness of this subject? You know, and so with that said, I'm like, I don't even know how to approach it because people are not willing to talk about it.
See, brother, I'm so glad you called, brother. You really, what you're saying really is what I was trying to say earlier, but you gave it a real tangible, bite-sized reality. You brought some reality to it. And that's what I was trying to say earlier. See, when I used to talk about the topic of homosexuality, it wasn't until I became aware of the fact, whoa, I have to realize so many people have been affected by this that when I say it, there's certain type of healing I have to put in it. Even saying it's got to stop because it's not 1 or 2 people looking. We're not looking in the room, looking out at people that are going to come try to do this to us. We're in a room full of people, half of them that's participating or have been in it, and they need healing. So I'm talking to a multitude of people in different ways. Well, when you're in a room in today's world with black people, and you're talking about sexual abuse, I knew that most of the people in the room have experienced it. What I did not know is that a substantial amount of the people in the room are involved in it. I'm talking about as recently as a few months ago. I didn't know this. I've been doing this for, like I said, 28 years. And it is a hard thing because I have to take a deep breath because what it means now, what we're dealing with is uprooting culture. It's a difference between fighting a danger to your society and uprooting culture. Culture is the way we do things and what we do. Sexual abuse is so endemic in our families now. It is not, and for people like yourself or myself who grew up in families where we didn't experience, it seems like that's crazy because we can't imagine it. But let me tell you, the vast majority of families experience it, particularly the more and more younger parents we're having, the more and more hip hop since the 80s, it has become the culture. So it is primary to our culture. And even before that, it was going on. Those of us who had experience just didn't know. So when you're in that room, not only are you talking to people who are dibbling and dabbling with homosexuality and lesbianism, but you're definitely dealing with people who dibble and dabbling and molesting children and or who've been molested by children and who didn't do anything or who never realized that their sexual abuse they suffered had an impact on them. Those are people you're dealing with. And like I said, some of them are involved. I didn't realize we were dealing with pedophiles. When I was in England in May, I was on a radio program in a radio station, dropping bombs. And a sister called the station as soon as as I was finishing up the program, this guy walked in who had the program after us, and he was 10 minutes away from his program. And he was standing there with such a vile, venomous hatred look on his face. I'm thinking that we must be over time. But then when I looked at the clock, we still had 10 minutes, but he was standing there with visceral hatred to the point where I got like, he was like a Jamaican guy. And I got like an attitude, like, you better not say nothing to me because it was that hostile. I was like, I don't like nobody treat me like that, you know? So anyway, he didn't say nothing to me directly, But I walked out. Sister called on the phone. When the sister called the phone, she said, you know, we have a problem. We got a lot. I'm Jamaican, and there's a culture in Jamaica where they have what they call the family ram now. I was like, what? She said, yeah, these guys, they rape their own daughters or their nieces and stuff, and they do it in their family, and they're called the family ram. It's part of the culture. Everybody's raping these girls. And the DJs at that station play the music. I said, what DJ? She said, the one that's coming on right behind the program you just did. He plays a song called My Virgin Girl and all these songs about raping girls. And so I was like, wow, no wonder he was looking at me like that, because I just talked about what we need to do to pedophiles. And so I was like, wow, we actually have pedophiles who are in our midst, who are angry with this discussion, or who want to be hush-mouthed about it because they can't take a position against it, or women who are involved in this stuff, or people who've been abused and don't know what to say about it, or people who somebody in their daughter has told them they were abused, they didn't do nothing about it. All of these people who we think are just everyday people are around us all the time. And like you said, we've got to figure out, and I don't have the answer to this, we have to figure out how to bring the discussion to the surface to create awareness. I'm gonna say one more thing, then I want you to jump back in here. This is why it's so difficult. The places where this conversation should be had is where Black people are en masse. The churches and the schools and in the music. Here's the problem. The churches are run by homosexuals and pedophiles, homophiles. The schools are run by homophiles, and the music is dominated by homophiles. So they're not going to let the conversation come in. It's something we have to force and figure out how to make it happen. And our children who would want to hear it, we don't have access to a way to invite them to it because they haven't been told that this is something that they want to hear. They have to get permission from their parents, many of whom are homophiles themselves, or lesbians, or homosexuals, or pedophiles. So we're in quite a quagmire, my brother. Come on, jump back in here and talk to me.
Well, you know, I appreciate that's what makes the work important, because you know you live in D.C. I live in St. Louis, and by creating this format, at least you're creating a magnet with those who are passionate and can identify and think something needs to be done, or at least come together. Because without a group, without an expanding group, it's hard to really change the culture. You know, true culture has to find a way to reward and punish. But when you got so many people participating, you know, it makes that difficult to enforce. But realistically, until we develop a way to punish, it's hard to change culture. I definitely like to hear your response to how can we create a culture that has ability. But like I say, in balance, we have to be able to reward as well.
We'll see.
But you're right. When you talk about it, you indict people personally just by hearing the conversation, and it does somewhat make it more difficult to, you know, engage in that now that they know the community's eye is open. So I guess that would be a very important start to amp up the conversation.
You just hit the nail on the head, and I can draw. It was the perfect question. All right, let me tell it this way, because I was on the pulse of this, not this way, but I mean, I was put on this at 15 years old and was paying attention. When R. Kelly happened in '91, I never forget. I think it was 91 or 99. It was in the 90s. I think it was 91. No, it was 99. I think it was 1999 or 94. I can't remember. Whatever year it was, he came out with the tape. Let me do this real quick, just a little. Well, anyway, when that happened, I think it was 99. I was of the opinion, I was with a group, and you can read between the lines. I was like, we got to get this guy. I said, because this is what will happen. When we do this, everybody will know why it happened. The culture will follow and say, yo, Slim, don't make me have to R. Kelly you. Because I could see what was going on. I mean, I was able to see. I never forget, we had it was almost a fight, because we were having a debate, and I was saying, he's the right one to get right now. And they were saying, nah, some other stuff. We were going back and forth, and I was like, nah, this is the guy. I said, because if we deal with this now, it creates an atmosphere for people to do what they wanted to do anyway, and then it creates a culture. Like I said, when you can say, yeah, don't make me have to R. Kelly you, now you've created the like you said, the punishment, and so it would have happened. Well, that didn't happen, and I watched what happened since that happened. I watched black women open themselves up to more disrespect after that period because they basically accepted the reality that nothing will be done once that situation went the way it went. I mean, I even have conversations with women, and they'll eventually just admit, yeah, y'all ain't gonna do nothing about it. So you might as well just pretty much, we might as well accept it as part of the culture, and it's getting worse. Now, why are we it's a direct answer to your question. We're in a situation where we get a second chance. Brother Poppy, and it's different than this one where the video came out and everything, even though that would have been a perfect time to do it. Perfect time to do it. But we missed that. Now we're in a different situation. Here we have the guy that started a genre of music that's become a death trap for our people anyway. He's a huge figure, and he's responsible for violating and destroying so many boys around the world. There's no excuse that anybody can make for why we should not deal with this accordingly, why he shouldn't get the proper punishment. But because we have articulate brothers, Brother Ronald Savage, Brother Poppy, and other brothers that are coming out, and a whole nation of people, Zulu Nation, who they're inspiring to slowly start coming out and telling their stories. I talked to Sister Eva. She started speaking up and talking. She came out to our event. She was one of the original Black Spades. Didn't know, she knew he was gay, but she didn't know, she knew he was a homophile, but she didn't know he was a pedophile. She knew about the gay part, and she didn't see it, but, it was rumored, and everybody accepted that. But they was thinking, oh, he's an adult, he does what he wants, not knowing that he was targeting children. My point being, people are now starting to talk. The more we get people talking, what happens is just what you just said. We get everybody to come out, but then we have to have the consequence for him. It's the perfect situation because we can say, here's the awareness that Brother Poppy and Brother Ronald Savage are able to articulate and get others to start coming out. And in England, there's 50 brothers right now that have been sexually abused. We got to get everybody talking because he's the poster child for not, it ain't really about him, even though he got to be dealt with. It's about the problem. But let's use him as a springboard. Deal with him at the end of it or in the middle. I don't care where we deal. We got to be dealt with. You got to get the punishment for the crime, but make everybody come forward. So now we have the awareness. Then we can start talking about, okay, well, now that we know all of this crazy stuff was happening, what are we going to put in place to start preventing it? Now the wheels start turning. But like you said, then that becomes the pretext, brothers. Since y'all were in the Zulu Nation when this happened and you sat by and watched, it's your responsibility to deal with this situation in a very definitive manner, to clean up the damage that you caused and for us to go forward. So now it becomes a situation where, can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah. It's almost like, you know how it is on the schoolyard back in the day, it'd be wolf tickets, the folks blow wolf tickets, and then at the end of the school day, then it'd be a crowd, and then it usually be a little rumble. Mm-hmm. And it's almost like we got to go back to, instead of doing some wolf tickets and putting the threats out there, like this is going to begin to happen to you. If you don't seek treatment, if you don't follow in some kind of a way of stopping this behavior or participating in a program, and then after we get that threat, then something has to happen. Like you say, but we got to leave, what would they say? We have to leave an opportunity for correction. We have to leave a safety net for those who come forward, to be able to save themselves from that eventual punishment. Well, so we're really going to have to get serious in a national way about actually having this punishment, and actually doing what we need to do. And
let me say something to what you just said, because what you just said was critical. In this situation, here's how it's set up exactly like you're saying. We know that Bambaataa is the one that was doing it, but he wasn't doing it by himself. But here's where your thing just came in. Right now, he's the target. And everybody can come forward. Well, when you come forward and tell your part in it and complicity, you're not getting a pass, but some way because you have to tell everybody that happened. So you didn't get a pass either because you have to admit to it. But he's going to be the one that's going to be dealt with. So the remedy is that, hey, I'm coming forward. This was going on. It's wrong. I didn't, here's what I did. So now you might get the pass, but you can't continue to do this. but the individual that's going to have to take the hit is going to be him. So what it means is there's going to be a punishment here. Ain't no two ways out of this. But at the same time, everybody who was involved, because he pulled y'all in, we're not going to say that each one of y'all have to be dealt with, but you do have to stop. If you're involved, if you're doing this to others, it's got to stop. And if we find out that you can't stop them, then you're going to have the same consequence. And it goes to just what you said. So he gives people a way out, but not him. And it starts the process and say, look, we're going to show you what happens. Then you got to say, we can't sell a wolf ticket. We got to finish.
Absolutely agree, bro. I absolutely agree with everything you're saying. Absolutely. I mean, it's not a wonderful, cheery conversation, but it's a conversation that has to be had, and it's work that has to be done. Somebody got to do the dirty work. It has to be done. Obviously, it's not something you can talk about, but we took taking big hits, like Brother Malcolm. Malcolm went down, and then it was an argument on who did it, and but there was a lot of vitriol rhetoric preceding his takedown. Where when you put that kind of energy out there, and you put that out there, there's a lot of people who were thirsty to take him out. When obviously somebody stepped up and did it. But when you put that kind of vitriol and that rhetoric against a man, and you're influential people, it does have an impact on the culture. I felt bad for Brother Malcolm because I believed in who he was and what he stood for. But I saw on the flip side how the Nation of Islam, how they put out this venom about him being a traitor and whatever, and created an atmosphere where many of their members wanted to take him out.
That's right.
So I'm saying, to not create confusion on my point, what I'm saying is, at some point, a collective body of people, of brothers with like minds, have going to, at minimum, have to take part in this conversation twofold. Once, like you said, healing and redemption, and at the same time, the punishment has to always be a part of the conversation. And we have to, and the more talented, the more spirited, the more vocal, orator the individuals are. We need them. We need you now, to rise up and amp this whole thing up on a higher level. Because it'll do two things. It'll either force you to admit or to at least work in behalf. Because I can imagine right now, there are brothers and sisters, and primarily a lot of brothers are probably hoping that this conversation go away. Or people who may be in their 50s and 60s, who may have abused people in their 30s or 40s, similar to this situation, where they thought the subject was long gone and dead and gone and quiet. And they're hoping that these people don't bring it up again. It's so wide and it's so huge. It's going to take a minute for, I know at least myself, to get a grip of a visual of how big it is and how to really approach it.
We did, and I'm gonna tell you, this is the first time it's ever happened. All of our events are pretty well received and pretty well attended, some better than others. But we had our first time we were having a sexual abuse forum, and we were inviting the community out. And originally we said we want people to tell their stories, but then we said we don't know how many people will come out to do that. So let's just show predators in our midst. The film about sexual abuse, the DVD we did, and talk about that. And then that will be the first step. And then the second step, we'll be able to ask everybody to come out and tell their stories so we can start having a dialogue about what's going on in our communities. And would you imagine, we actually had like maybe 2 people that came. And I was like, wow. And it was because nobody wanted to be in this discussion, whether they've been through it or if they haven't, they just don't want to hear about it because it's so painful. So I was like, wow, we really got to figure out what to do. Because at some point, we need a room of 400 people with some people coming up saying, this happened to me, blah, 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 blah. And everybody start telling them, we go, wow. Some children come up and tell their story. And everybody, so we go, okay, we see now this is a problem because people can tell what's happening. None of us, it was our fault when it happened. But we've got to take steps to go back. And then we've got to do this in mass. It can't be done by small individuals because it's a massive problem. It may start small, but I tell you what, brother, we ain't gonna figure it out tonight, but the line of thinking and dialogue that you're having, if we have brothers in every city like you working with this kind of brain thinking and energy, we can figure out what to do and get that strong black men organized to fix this problem, brother. So we need you to stay on board and, help us along the way, brother.
Well, when you want to do something in St. Louis, please contact me, and I definitely support this. Like I said, I fully believe this is a hugely important issue, probably the top of the line right now in terms of our movement. Because you stated yourself, America has decided that homosexuality is its number one agenda internationally.
That's right.
And that helps breed this sick culture, including the pedophilia.
That's right.
So we do push back. We need to push back upon that. And I'm proud of you, brother. I'm really, really, really proud of the work you're doing. And to me, you are the brother to keep your eyes on, because you're dealing with a tough subject with a lot of courage. And I really respect you for your courage, brother. And all the folks that's coming out and and going against you, I feel for you, brother, and I got your back on that, because I'm with you 100%, because it takes a lot of courage for you to stand up and do the things that you're doing. And so you keep doing what you're doing, brother. And like I said, when you come to this city, if you want to set up something in the city, I'm on there and I'll help organize it, and we'll do the best we can.
All right, do me a favor. Send me an email to liberation@waronthehorizon.com. And we're going to contact you this week and see, what timelines look like and what we can do, even if it's down the line. And we definitely want to work with you. I love your spirit, brother.
Okay, liberation at what?
At waronthehorizon.com.
Okay.
Appreciate you, my brother. Straight black pride.
All right, straight black pride.
They holding it down in St. Louis. That's the STL. You better know it. Let me go to 2429. Praise Nat Turner. Glory to Garvey. Long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad.
Praise Nat Turner. Glory to Garvey. Long live the beautiful spirit of my brother, Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing fine. I got my sister on the line. You know I'm doing good, Queen.
Oh, good to hear. Good to hear. Don't have a lot to say. I was hoping that Brother Poppy would be on tonight. Just wanted to give him and the other brother just props, because I know it cannot be easy to go out and do what they're doing, and especially when you're just dealing with people that can be very ignorant and make comments that are very, very ignorant. So I just really applaud them for what they're doing, and hope that they continue.
Can I say something real quick? First of all, if y'all don't know who's on the line, we got a superstar, the baddest child book writing person that ever walked the face of I honest to God, if I had these books when I was coming up, I would have been a Cosmo Setepenrod. Let me tell you, I'd have been a Micah and Xavier Johnson. This is our long time. Matter of fact, she's a partner to War on the Horizon, because she was around from the very beginning. Angela Freeman. If you go online, go to authorangela.freeman.com. You get the best books, and it's a wide variety of books for children's books. But I got to say something to you. While I got you online, I got to get you. I was so happy when our brother Cosmo Setepenrod showed us what being a real black man is all about. And our brother Micah Xavier Johnson. And you were the first person to jump in my mind, because I said right now, with all of these murders and these terrorist assaults on the black community, somewhere Angela Freeman is sitting down saying, these black men gonna talk, but they ain't gonna do nothing. And those words you were saying resonated. And man, you don't know how I said, I can't wait to talk to her. What she got to say now. So I bet you was a proud black woman. Talk to me. You proud?
I mean, we still have a lot of work to do.
That's true.
Definitely have a lot of work to do, but it's good to see people beginning to be mobilized. I mean, when you talk about education, I'm all for that. We all know that. I'm all about educating people and motivating people to stand up. But it's also a certain point when things have to be innate. I mean, it's either in you or it's not. And if we are allowing people to even think for 1 second, it's okay to respond the way dude in that audio responded, it's a problem. I think that we have to make it part of the culture to start speaking up. Like, KRS-One should be irrelevant right now. Like, his name should be dirt. We should be, go to a concert and spit in his face. There's no way that we can, go easy on these people. The minute you choose to side with a pedophile, you have to be ostracized or worse. It can no longer be cool to do that. And just listening to that brother speak and knowing that's how a lot of brothers think, we got to do something. It's not appropriate. It's completely inappropriate that our children cannot be children, that we're okay with our children being victimized, that we insinuate that these brothers are gay or what have you because we failed them as a community. So I'm all for education, but it's also at the same time, it's something that we should not need that much education for. And if we don't already know some of these basic things, I think that we're going to have to be dealt with.
Yeah, and I agree with you, but and I understand you saying it should be common sense, but I'm going to take, it's taking years for me to get here. I'm going to say about close to 3 decades. I'm going to say, I really do think that with the insanity that Europeans have put on us, particularly in the last, the last generation, my generation and behind us, I do believe that we're insane enough to not even know right from wrong to some degree. I honestly think that our community would benefit from a campaign of awareness, prevention, healing, and consequences where we say, okay, maybe you don't know what sexual abuse is. Let's describe it. Let's discuss it. Let's say and show what it looks and feels like. Let's talk about how it works. Let's talk about the right thing and the wrong thing to do. Let's talk about what happens. Let's talk about we're going to get this open and up and let everybody come out and talk about what's going on. We're going to heal from this, but we're also going to deal with the folks that are the primary perpetrators of it and get them dealt with. I really think our community would benefit from that because just one day I was thinking, these mothers, why would they do that? I said, after they put us off of those plantations, those slave plantations, those breeding farms, those people just went into families. And there were people who knew how sick it was and just killed them when they found out, but others didn't. Others just didn't know what to do. And for hundreds of years, sometimes it happens and people just don't know what to do. I'm not giving them any pass. I'm saying, I think that in order to prevent it, we need to have a system that says there's no excuses because everybody knows what to do because we've told everybody what to do. So if you don't do the right thing, ain't no excuses, ain't no way out because everybody's been told.
I mean, I definitely agree. That's why I wrote Hands Off to try to, tell people, enlighten people how to protect their children, how to respond if their children come to them. I totally agree with that. My only thing is, to create a culture to where, yes, we're educating you, but if you even think that you're going to say anything in defense of a pedophile, don't be surprised if you get punched in the mouth. Don't be surprised, brother or sister or whatever, if you just get so on or worse. We got to make it to where that's not an option. But I definitely agree with the education. I just think that some of these supporters, we're going to start having to put them in the same category as the pedophile. Like I said, with KRS-One, years ago, we had this conversation about 13 and Good.
Yes, we did.
He's been on this kick for a long time. A long time. Nobody thought about that when the song came out. We was all jamming to it. We ain't think nothing of it, really. Until we got to adults, and we're like, whoa, what was this brother talking about? He was saying some wild stuff in there. If you listen to the song, not watch the video, but just listen to the lyrics of the song, it was wild. And now he's coming up supporting the pedophile. You got the other brothers called in. So I definitely agree with you. We have to educate people because common sense is not common. But at the same time, we got to
have consequences. That's right.
So,
we got to have consequences. We got to have consequences and that's one thing we got to do. We got to describe the pedophile, and then the people who are complicit with the pedophilia, we have to have a term for them in a way that they're looked at.
Like promosexual.
Yeah, promosexual.
Like we do with the promosexual.
Yeah. These are homophiles, and you're a promosexual who helps the homophiles and the pedophile. Yeah, I agree with you. And last thing,
So it's the same thing.
you say KRS-One, but Brother Cesariak gave us a new term. It's GayRS-One. That's his new name, GayRS.
That's been on his app for a long time.
Yeah. He's GayRS-One now because he's supporting this gay homophile behavior. So he's gay arrests.
Yeah, he ain't got a choice but to. If you look back at his videos from even the 90s and early 2000s, he's had that twinkle in his eye for a long time. But it's gonna be consequences.
Fantastic. I agree with you 150 million%, and I want to work to get there. Whatever way, even if it's a circuitous route, we got to get there and get there as fast as we can. Great hearing from you, as always, and I hope I see you real soon. All right.
Yes, sir.
All right. Stay black, pride. Going west side. West side. Praise Nat Turner. Glory to God. Belong to the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad.
Praise Nat Turner. Glory to God. Belong to the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. How you doing, Brother Jeannie?
Doing fantastic. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm doing good. I'm really enjoying this program. You're touching, you're hitting a lot of major vital points. And the people, I think the people now is just gravitating and understanding how deep this homosexuality and this pedophilia is deep and rooted in the community. To make it really quick, I was sitting here thinking, when I was in college, I went to the historically black college, Grambling State University, and I saw, the homosexuality at that campus was bad. Maybe not to the point where Brother Baba Baruti was speaking at, was teaching at Morehouse. Maybe not quite to that extent, but it was bad enough. And I've seen dudes twitching and twirling and all this other stuff. Back then, when I was young, I didn't understand how deep it was. You know, this is during the 90s. This is during the mid-90s. And I know I was in the dorm. Well, I'll tell you this. One of my roommates, he had friends that were homosexuals and stuff, and I wasn't with all that. I was supposed to get that, and he was defending the homosexuality, and I realized later he was a homo himself. You know, he was definitely a homo himself, and I was wondering because a couple of times, one of those, I don't know who it was, one of those faggots was playing on the phone, was calling me, and I just straight up hung up the phone, you know, and I'm kind of glad that I only dealt with him for a short period of time. You know, that was one incident. Then I think it was another incident on campus where it was this young sister. This was on ESPN during the time. And it was this young sister. She was 14 years old, but from what I understand, she looked like she was 19 years old. She went to this dorm where it's mainly football players, and she just got molested by these football players, and they got charged, and they were on ESPN and everything. And this was during the time when Coach Eddie Robinson was coaching the football team. So it was a lot of, you know, during my short time I was there from 96 to I think 2001. I mean, it was a lot of stuff that was going on there, and this stuff was going on in a lot of other historically black colleges and universities as well.
Let me do this.
I just want to touch.
Let me do this.
Light on that situation.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure you think the same thing going on at Hampton University.
Absolutely. Matter of fact, is that pretty much what you're going to touch on tonight?
Pretty much. Hold on, one thing. I wanted to quickly speak about Baba Baruti, because I saw the interview with him and Shay Black, the recent interview that came out several days ago. Yeah, that was powerful. You know, that was. If you haven't seen it, you have to see that. That was very powerful. He touched the light on what was going on during Morehouse when he was teaching there.
And let me ask you, do you know the name of the interview where people can find it? It's on Shay Black's channel, CHE Black.
It's on Shay Black's channel.
All right, brother. So that's Shay Black, CHE, and then Black, BLAK, on Facebook. I mean, on YouTube. Go to that channel, Shay Black, and then look at the recent interview he did with Baba Baruti. I'm sure it's on fire. The brother's telling us it's really, 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 really great. Do you got anything else for us, brother? Got a lot of calls online.
Yes, sir. No, that's it, brother. That's it, brother. I just want to shed light to the what you've been shedding. I just want to add my 2 cents in.
All right, fantastic, brother. Well, stay strong out there on the west side. Straight Black Pride.
Straight Black Pride.
All right, all right. I'm gonna go through. I'm gonna get everybody that's hit one. I'm gonna definitely come to you but I got some things I want to finish before the program is over tonight. So I definitely want to take and get all the callers on. But when he mentions homosexuality, when I was at Hampton University, literally my junior year, it was my junior year. Yeah, it was my junior year. We had an entire line of Kappas go over that were gay. I never forget this. They came into the student union, and literally they was all. I mean, every single one of them. And I had a friend said that he was a senior and he was a Kappa. And I was like, yo, what's going on? And he was just shaking his head and didn't want to talk about it. I was like, yo, that's your fraternity. Every last one of these dudes is gay. Talk with me. What's going on? So that's how gay it was. And now, I had a lot of big brothers who at the time I didn't know was gay. But now down the line over the years, I found out those guys was gay. And so there was a lot of homosexuality going on at Hampton University. And they were hiding it. But it's been a real major problem. Let me go 8746. Praise Nat Turner. Glory to Garvey. Long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad.
Praise Nat Turner. Glory to Garvey. Long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. This is Brother EJ Jr. How you doing?
Hey, Brother EJ. Brother EJ. Come on in here and talk to us, my brother.
Indeed, brother. Great show. The last callers have been fantastic. I just was trying to echo off of them, the brother from St. Louis.
Yes.
As I travel around here, brother, it's kind of what he said. People are tight-lipped about certain situations and the homosexuality agenda and this LGBT movement. We don't want to talk about it. At least the bigger circle or the masses kind of just, hey, we want to push this up under the carpet. And I kind of get the sense, well, it is a sense that so many of us are in an I moment and not a we moment. And it's affecting us all. But we have to get out of the I format and understand that we're only going to get out of this together. So I think one of the most discouraging things for me is to look at the leaders, or what we call so-called leaders, or people who have the format actually to talk about these type of issues. And we continue to give them the format, and they don't say anything about it. And my example is, I covered the DNC, I'm covering the RNC, Republican National Convention, and the LGBT movement is making their ways through those conventions. Mm. They're using Black people, but these things aren't, once whoever's elected on that national level, the Black issues will fade away just like they've always had.
That's right.
And they'll continue to push these other agendas. What was really mind-blowing is at the DNC, the first transgender speaker spoke at the DNC. And they put this person front and center to speak at the podium. And as the crowd started cheering, they panned the cameras into the audience to show two Black males hugging and kissing each other. And we just, as a collective body of people, we don't see what's going on. We don't get it. Because after they get through speaking and talking about it, everybody forgets that even happened or it took place. we get concerned about Michelle Obama talking about slaves building the White House, or talking about don't boo, just vote. These cliches that are going to mean nothing to us at the time that one of these people are elected president. So, man, I just salute you for the work you're doing. I'm proud to be a part of the Straight Black Pride movement, and it's just it's great to be part of an organization that's building bricks and building those blocks for these children to have once we're gone. Because I can see that what we're building now is for the future. They may not see the effects for it today, but somewhere down the line, our people are going to need an organization to latch on to, and this is going to be the organization that does it. So, man, I salute you for all the work you do, and you just got to keep it and keep it going, bro.
We appreciate that. And could you tell everybody what your program is going to be on tomorrow night, 7 to 10 p.m. every Tuesday, Brother E.J. Jones?
Yeah, we do Straight Black News now, so SBN, Straight Black News, and tomorrow we will have the second African-American identical quadruplets born in this country. So they were born in 1963. They're still healthy, alive, and doing very well. What this story ends up telling us, Jeannie, is that the first African-American quadruplets were born in 1946. And they were four sisters, but what happened to them, 90% of African-American women prior to 1946 they breastfed their children. After these quadruplets were born in 1946, 4 black girls, immediately we started seeing the pet milk, which is PET, the simulated type of milk, because of a white doctor taking those girls and actually exploiting them and making money off of those first ones. And that's how the black woman got introduced to this condensed milk or this formula type milk. So what we'll see in these quadruplets who were born in 1963, strong black mother who refused to sell her children out to corporate America to benefit from those type of things like that. And then the following week we'll have Chris Washburn on for part 2. So definitely want to make sure you can listen to Chris Washburn in 2 weeks. Yes. But I'm looking forward to both of those interviews.
Fantastic, fantastic. Let's make sure we connect so I can get that information on the brother as well, because I'm supposed to be contacting them. So fantastic. We'll all be tuned in tomorrow night, 7 to 10 p.m. My brother E.J. Jones, Straight Black Pride.
Straight Black Pride.
I don't know if y'all know, but that brother is a former NFL football player. So if you mad he's on our station and not yours, that's your fault, not mine. Yeah, that's your fault, not mine. Don't get mad at me. Let me go. Let me see. 8746. Is this brother EJ again?
Yeah, that's me, Jeannie.
Okay. All right. Sorry about that. Let me go to 3924. Praise Nat Turner. Glory to Garvey. Long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad.
Praise Nat Turner. Glory to Garvey. And long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. Brother Amos is from the West Coast of California.
West Side? Come on, talk to me, my Straight Black Pride brother. How you doing, man?
Fantastic. So there was, I had a class, I do 1-2 African defense instruction, and teach people how to do self-defense and eliminating occupied predators in our midst. And one of my students, a sister, just had a chance to defend herself. She was at an event, and a brother inappropriately touched her, and she defended herself. Pushed the brother off, hit him so hard, pushed him through the wall. And so she had a chance to report that to the class on Sunday.
Praise
and
Nat
everyone was applauding and giving her kudos.
Praise Nat Turner. So Nat, I want everybody to hear this. I want you to hear how important this is. This is a brother that's with the Straight Black Pride movement out on the West Coast in California. He's not only a doctor and a healer, but he's a Montu art professional. We're talking about, expert. And one of the things that he provides is specific tailored training to prevent sexual abuse and sexual assault. And so he's providing that to the Black community out in California. And what he's telling us is that actually was able to be used by a sister who was being sexually fondled or abused. And instead of having to comply with it because she didn't know what to do, she was able to defend herself and get away from that. I mean, how much more could we ask? Is that not a practical use of your skill as a black person in the interest of protecting the black community. We're going to give our brother, it's called the War on the Horizon Black Hand for Brother Amsis my brother.
Yes. Thank you. I'm really proud to be able to say that she's a teacher and she'll be teaching other youth about this concept of being able to stand up for loving yourself and defending yourself. And we are planning on having this with Straight Black Pride movement, as far as perhaps getting some DVDs available for other members, and so that they can have these techniques and methods available to them as well. And I'm glad, Brother Irritated Genie, that you're working on this, and this is something that's mandatory, that we not only provide the awareness and talk about that, but whenever it comes up to us right in your face, we have the tactics, the position, the reflex to respond appropriately for self-defense.
Well, brother, we appreciate that. We're going to continue to work with you. And everybody out there, I want you to hear this. The brother's right now located in California, but he can also do the webinars. We're going to we'll probably do one live here where we get the brother on the film so he can show us while we're doing it live. But actually, we're working now to put together a curriculum that is really designed to help children, women, and men be able to protect themselves, and teenagers to learn how to protect yourself from sexual abuse, which will one thing, it'll brings the awareness, because you're learning training, so you have to know what this is and that people do this stuff. And then two, sometimes just because you're aware that somebody will do something, you're not surprised when it happens. You actually are able to resist. In other words, you have the will to resist. And then this brother can not only provide those first two parts, but he can teach you how to successfully resist so that you are not the victim in the situation. You were the one that was targeted, but you don't become a victim. So this is what we're trying to do. The Straight Black Pride movement is all about it. It's not just talk, it's action. And this is what you call tangible, actionable items that we're very proud to say that this movement is in full support of. So thank you, my brother. We really, really love you and appreciate your work.
Likewise. Straight Black Pride.
Straight Black Pride. And I'm going to tell you, I talked to one of the brothers out in Cali on the west side, and he told me he went out there and learned some things. He said the brother is official. He said he not playing. What he teach you is, you know, your enemies are not going to like this. You're one of the good guys, and the good guys win when you train by Brother Amsis Mott. Let me go to 1559. Praise Nat Turner. Glory to Garvey. Long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad.
Praise Nat Turner. Glory to Garvey, and long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. What's up, Jeannie? How are you this evening, brother?
I'm doing good, and I know you love that last call. I know that's Keisha Alley.
Yes. Sister Angela Freeman and Tad, they said it all. But you know what, Dee? During the press conference, this is why I ask brothers, well, pretty much I call brothers out.
That's right.
Brothers and sisters, I call them out. Because I could smell you really not about it a mile away. Now, to even question these brothers and their stories, first of all, the ancestors made this happen. And I'm going to say, Brother Poppy, Ron Savage, you were put in a position to open up a scab to fix something deeper than a wound. If this had been, unfortunately, Black women, no one would pretty much pay much attention to it. It wouldn't have been as huge as it is right now. It's unfortunate because this society in which we live in tells us in its behavior and its action that Black women and Black girls have always been major sex objects for them. No white man has ever gone to prison for raping a Black female. Even Ted Bundy, this sick beast, arrested, convicted of raping multiple women. The Black women he assaulted
and murders. He ain't getting time for them. This is the system we live in. When the beasts who came to this nation to settle it, they didn't bring the best of them. They released their prisons and their jails and had those men and women set up this society. We are dealing with their descendants. When we pull the scab off, this is why I said these brothers opened up Pandora's box. When we pull the scab off, it forces us to look at our real enemy. And sexual abuse is one of the worst crimes you could ever commit on a person, worse than murder. It penetrates the soul, the body, the mind, the spirit, all at once. So when you open up this Pandora's box, we lift the wound and the scab off what's really happening, who our real enemy is. And it'll force us to deal with that enemy head on. And a lot of people are afraid of that. A lot of people will turn away from that. They really aren't about it. Because you would rather attack Ron Savage and Poppy, Straight Black Pride movement, attack Irritated Genius, attack his family, attack his comrades. You would rather do that than to stand firm on your square and deal with your enemy as you must. Micah Xavier Johnson called us out.
That's right.
Our brother Lahim called us out. Colin Ferguson called us out.
That's right.
Mark Essex called us out. You don't want to deal with this real enemy. You don't want to let your self-hatred break down. You don't want that mechanism to break down because you have fear dealing with this enemy. So these brothers are giants among men. Straight Black Pride is a movement that is a giant among movements. And it's taking this thing global. It's forcing us to deal with our real enemy. So that's all I gotta say. It's just showing people for who they are. And that, as Sister Angela Freeman said, we already know about, fake RS1. Come on now. My concern is the children today. Bam is still alive today. What are the children? We got children walking around today. Parents who don't know who this man is, allowing their children, in particular their boys, around this thing. What about our children today? And you wonder why our children are acting crazy. Who's protecting them? If you won't stand up for that, if you can't stand up for sexual abuse, this homosexual assault, this homosexual political assault, if you won't stand up for this, you a coward. You a coward. And I'll tell anybody that.
Wow, sister, that's whew. All I can say is that's powerful and that's real. And I would, my spirit would want to debate you or not want it to be true when you say that if it was a sister, people wouldn't have cared as much, but I can't because we're getting more momentum on this than we did when R. Kelly urinated on our daughter. So I'm going to have to say, as ashamed as I am as a black man of not having dealt with that, and it was for me, it wasn't because it was a female, just I didn't have the support mechanism or the position to do it. What I can say is where I may have failed with that for whatever reason, no excuses. At least I can say everything I can do that I know to do during this time with sisters like you and brothers like Ted and brothers like Ashe and all of the strong straight black pride movement, Free Brothers and Sisters and One Horizon and all of our affiliates. At least we can say today on our turf, when we're in a position of some form of power and influence, even if some fakers are around us, we are organizing and willing to work with people we don't even agree with none of their philosophies, who we do agree with, that we see that they want to fight this battle. And I think that we're making a mark in history, being able to put our differences aside and fight this battle right now. So thank you so much for everything you said. And last thing, Sister Abijay, I want to talk to you because I really want to talk more about that West Papua thing, because I know y'all going to be at the National Convention. And I may want her, since I didn't think she was coming down, but if she is, we may have her do a 10-minute piece talking about that, because we were going to talk about that and say something. But if we can organize it, we can let her do that if you be comfortable, you and her, or however you want to do it. So talk to us about that, because we want to make sure we showcase the young people when people come to the convention. Something nice and short and sweet, but powerful. And she always brings it powerful.
Yes, sir. I was speak. We had a phone conference call yesterday, and her mom said that they do plan to come on down to the convention. But I'll confirm that.
All right, my sister.
All right, brother. You stay safe out there.
Will do. Straight black pride.
Straight black pride.
I'm going to Cincinnati. Praise Nat Turner. Glory to Garvey. Long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad.
Praise Nat Turner. Glory to Garvey. Long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. I bear witness there is no other God but Allah.
There's no God but He. Come on in here, talk to me, brother.
I really don't have much to say tonight. Now I'm just more or less just doing some listening.
Okay. All right, well, brother. Always appreciate you tuning in and listening.
Who was that dude that was that dude that was in the Zulu Nation?
He was one.
That was
I don't know his name, but he was one of the original founders and everything like that. I don't know exactly what his name was, but he was one of the guys that's been around from very early on. He's a very popular figure too. I just don't know his name. I don't want to put the wrong name out there.
Right. I feel like his name in that interview should definitely be in the forefront, man, because there's a whole lot of defending, and I mean it's crazy, man. It's crazy.
Basically threats.
I don't even see how.
I heard threats. It was almost like he was threatening them.
Right. I mean, it's like, man, it's to me, I just don't. I don't see how you could defend that.
Mm.
You know, I just don't see how you could defend it at all.
I'm with you.
Something happened to that dude, man.
Look, I know where you're going, and
I wanted to do something to that dude so bad. And I'm like, what is wrong with this dude? I mean, you could tell he didn't have nothing of value of saying, because usually when a person ain't got no value and what they say, they just throwing a whole lot of cuss words and like a whole lot of stuff that ain't even saying nothing. We ain't saying nothing.
I'm gonna say this. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say he couldn't really articulate his position because he didn't have one. So he just started cussing and throwing a lot of N-words and MFs and all this. Like, come on, man. You ain't saying nothing.
Yeah.
Somebody need to whack that dude.
Yeah. What happened with me, that's where my spirit is all the time with this issue. And what's happening with me now is I know how I feel, but in terms of strategy to get to where you're talking about, because I'm in the same place, believe me. I'm like, well, what is the actual process? And now what I'm feeling like is, yeah, we can say that, and I don't disagree. I don't disagree with nothing you said. But really, if we're going to do something about it, what we got to do, in my opinion, we got to create the awareness, the prevention, the healing, and the consequences. That way, it's not us saying what our opinion is of him doing it. We need to have a standard protocol. When you do this and this happens, hey, matter of fact, let's listen to this phone call. All right, and then we do it. Okay, that right there is considered this. And when you do that, this is what we're going to do. But until we have that, I think that we're missing stuff because we know that it's wrong, but we don't have a protocol. We haven't gotten it with a collective understanding. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's why I said the same thing you just said. We don't have a protocol.
Yeah.
And it's what it's sad is, you know, because I got a pedophile in my family. I just found that out not too long ago. And I don't deal with it at all. At all.
Well, got anything you want to finish up with, brother?
salutation. Straight black pride. Got me putting pedophile and my body. Get ass dude, whatever dude, man. Get him on in there too. We got no room in the trunk.
Homophiles, all of them in the trunk. All right, brother. Straight black pride. He said you got to put all of them in there. All right. Now what I'm going to do, brothers and sisters, is I want people to understand why this discussion is so important. So we're going to take this conversation a different direction. And I'm going to show you some things because it's very, 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 I believe, very important for you to understand, brothers and sisters, why it is so critical that we deal with this now. Because people may not understand what the real homosexual agenda is about. So now we're going to go through a process. I'm going to show you a few videos, and I'm going to walk you through the process for you to understand what is the homosexual movement really about. So let me set it up. I want to make this very clear, and then I'm going to show you better than I can tell you. This is what is happening. The real individuals in the world with the power are the pedophiles. And what they do is molest and violate children. The results of that sexual abuse can lead to, one of the primary things it can lead to is homosexuality. So what the pedophiles realize that in order to get pedophilia to be accepted, they have to make it okay, the results of the pedophilia. So what they have done is they have taken the children who they have violated, who now are so sick and confused that they've been involving themselves in homosexuality. And they have given them a political platform so that they can go out and thus say, I am a homosexual. This is something that I chose. It is what I was born with. So that you cannot go to them and say, you're involved in this. You're sick. Why are you doing this? And then they say, well, this happened to me. And then you can trace their behavior back to them being violated and say, oh, we got to find the sexual predators because they're what's leading to homosexuality and sexual confusion in our community. So by giving them a political platform, the homosexuals, there's no reason to look and investigate why the homosexual who now is saying, I was born this way. Well, if they were born that way, there's no reason to look into what made them that way. Therefore, the pedophiles are now sealed and hidden behind the abuse that they're waging and putting out on the society. It's a brilliant move. So what I'm saying to you is there is no homosexual movement. It is merely a political smokescreen for the pedophiles world. So I'm going to go around and just show you a few things so you can see what I'm talking about. I want to show you an example just to see what's going on in Jamaica so you can see how in depth and how deeply it's permeating the culture in Jamaica.
I just stopped fighting. Not because I didn't want this. This was my first sexual experience, so this is how I lost my and I remember it clearly. I remember this person just treating me as if I was garbage, like I was an animal. And he had his time. He had the time of his life.
I was just 5, 6 years old when it happened, but I remember everything. I remember the smell of it. I remember one time I was sleeping, and I can remember something being forced up inside of me. And I just know somebody can do that to a child. What's wrong with them? Why they want to hurt a child?
And the prisoner is in the dock in the same courtroom, and the child has to give that testimony.
And it's not just the responsibility of government.
Break the silence. Break the silence. Break the silence.
It's a good PR move. How do I break the silence? What are the resources that are there after I've broken the silence? What happens to a predator after I've broken the silence? How am I protected from retribution?
All right, brothers and sisters. So I just want you to see this is spreading throughout the African world. It's not just here in America. But I want you to see what's really driving this. So let me move past some of these things I have here in this presentation because I want you to see where this came from and what's happening now. So let's move into, if we go back to ancient Greece, Plato said pederasty, which is sex between a man and a little boy, that alone is capable of satisfying a man's highest and noblest aspirations. And the love between man and woman, when spoken of at all, is altogether inferior. It is a purely physical impulse whose sole object is the procreation of life. In other words, in ancient Greece, they had a custom of grown males raping little boys. This was the culture. There was no homosexuality. It was pedophilia. But they were the same thing. In other words, there was no two grown males having sex. That was not what it was. It was a grown male raping a young boy. That was the custom. It wasn't until the 1800s that the whites realized, we're talking about thousands of years down the line, like 4 years down the line. It wasn't until 1900s AD, 1800s, that they realized, wow, people hate this pedophilia thing. Let's change and split it into two things. One will be grown people of the same age having sex with one another, and one will be people having sex with children. And we'll walk them into accepting sexual abuse of children. So originally, it was called Socratic love for Socrates, grown males raping little boys. But they saw that people were so, found it so heinous, in order for it to be accepted, they had to take steps. And that's when they split the concept in the 1800s.
We tend to think of the Greeks as somehow a sexually liberated people. They were not hung up about the same kinds of things that we're hung up about. Their acceptance of sex is a natural part of life. It's something that makes them, at the same time, a very attractive culture, and at the same time, a very foreign culture.
The lascivious behavior of the elite Greek male was mirrored in the antics of his gods. The all-powerful Zeus was a philandering husband whose sexual appetites ran the gamut from goddesses to mortal women to young boys. Romantic love between men and women was not the norm in classical Greece. Marriages were largely economic arrangements to ensure bloodlines and inheritances. In classical Greece, there was no stigma attached to male or female homosexuality. Plato himself sang the praises of love between men in the Symposium.
The Greeks didn't castigate sexual preference, just as we don't castigate people who prefer soccer to football or basketball to hockey or something like that. No, it wasn't a ground of moral judgment. It just wasn't a category.
Male homosexual relationships often involved an older man with a younger boy, a practice known as pederasty.
Certain subcultures in Greece, particularly the elite subcultures, romanticized the relation between an adult male and a pubescent boy. It was a rite of passage, in a sense. There were certain rules of...
One of the most famous tales of male homosexual love in Greece is the legend of the sacred band of Thebes. This valiant army of 300 lovers allegedly fought against Alexander the Great and his father at the Battle of Chaeronea in 338 BC.
The young Alexander the Great saw a heap of bodies, beautiful bodies, all piled on top of each other, all dead of honorable wounds. And he asked the subaltern, "Who are these brave men?" And he was told, "This, sir, is the sacred band of Thebes." And they all died, avoiding disgrace in the eyes of their lovers.
The defeat of the sacred band of Thebes marked the end of the classical period in ancient Greece and the beginning of the Hellenistic. This dynamic era ushered in many changes in Greek culture, especially in the arena of sexuality. The female nude gradually replaced the male nude as the Greeks' ideal form of beauty. Erotic bonds between men and women strengthened, taking the place of male-male relationships. It seems the wise and learned Greeks had finally discovered the humanity of woman.
But this is where I want to kind of show, how this happened. We have to understand what happened to black people, and then I'm going to get into what's happening now politically. But I want to preface it with this because I think this video really helps us understand how this whole situation of pedophilia and sexual abuse was created in the black community.
Countries that traded in human bondage for decades found it necessary to obtain more Africans to enslave. Cattle farmers who were experienced at breeding cattle found it easy to make the transition into the breeding of human beings. Slave breeders were highly selective and went to auctions to seek the biggest and healthiest slaves they could find. There were many poor quality slaves on the market in those days. Most were either too sick, old, or badly damaged during the capture and voyage. They studied different African tribes to determine which ones would make the best breeders. Mandingo men were highly sought after because they were big, strong, and had large genitalia. Senegalese women were considered most attractive because their chiseled features resembled European women. Formulas were developed to produce the highest quality slave in order to achieve the highest dollar amount. During their working life, a female slave spent most of her time pregnant, and most owners put a high value on good breeders. Once a pregnancy was achieved, records were maintained that included how long it took to achieve a pregnancy, the weight and size of the baby produced, and most importantly, its health and physical characteristics. The male breeding stud will be put with another woman, and the process continued. When a male slave turned 15, he had his first inspection. Boys who were underdeveloped with small testicles or small penises were castrated and sent to the market. Others were used on the farm in other capacities. Female slaves were inspected at age 13 or whenever they received their first menstrual cycles. Those with large breasts and wide hips were considered better suited for breeding. A male slave was expected to impregnate at least 12 females a year. Those capable of impregnating more were given extra. Female slaves were used to produce 10 offspring, but those who produced exceptional ones with little or no complications were used for up to 15. The male studs were used in the breeding process for a period of 5 years, but those showing excellent performance were used for 10 years or more. Within a 3-year period, owners had a good idea of who were the best people for breeding. As soon as a male produced an inferior offspring, he was immediately castrated to stop further breeding and sometimes used as eunuchs to guard prize heifers from being impregnated by non-pedigreed bucks. Others were retained for general work or sold. Females who were no longer suitable for breeding were used to nurse and care for other children, assigned to other plantation duties, or sold to brothels. Only the strongest and healthiest babies were kept for further breeding. Those born with deformities of even the slightest detail in many cases were used for alligator bait or just killed outright, as breeding was very carefully monitored to ensure that only the finest specimens were produced. The breeding males were castrated to prevent them from ever breeding again. After 20 years of breeding exceptionally high quality slaves, a third generation of newly bred slaves were used as breeders and their predecessors were retired. Males were consistently inspected to make sure they were producing the highest quality offspring. Each month, males were called in for inspection, their genital area shaved, and their testicles inspected for any signs of lumps or defects. Other slaves were ordered to make the male breeders ejaculate to check if their semen was still large in volume and consistent. Over time, the slaves got used to their inspections. Any male showing signs of thin semen would be given 1 month to recover. If found unsatisfactory, he would then be castrated.
Today's sisters victimized by child abuse and exposed to domestic violence often mirror their slave sisters' pain and humiliation. While this abominable practice may seem hard to believe, today there is a vestige of slavery that continues to affect our communities, that in many ways resemble the same type of harshness our slave sisters had to endure.
That's My Slave Sister Myself by Sister Glenn Ragsdale. So that kind of shows you the yesterday. This is what happened to her for hundreds of years. We were on these breeding farms, on these sex farms, And this was bred into our community. So these individuals in 1865, when chattel slavery supposedly ended, and many of our people left the plantation, they didn't have anywhere to go. But when they left the breeding farm, the same thing, they went back into whatever families that were out there. Black folk that took them in their families, or whatever the case may be, or whatever families they made. I want you to understand, these were folks who their whole entire life were bred and forced to sexually abuse one another. That's all they knew as a way of life. We're talking about thousands of these individuals in our families all over the country, particularly in the places where slavery was most notably being practiced. And there's no therapy, there's nothing. They just go in, and many of them continue to do what they'd always done. And so you shouldn't be surprised that we've had this going on in our families, in the churches, in the communities, in the choirs, in the school systems, as a subculture in the Black community, because this was not an accepted part of our culture, but it was something that was bred into our culture. Now, why am I showing this? Because I want to show you what's happening today. If you can just kind of take that and imagine hundreds of years of uncles, aunts, nephews, fathers in our community who've gone through this process, been molested or been molesters their whole life. And now they're in there doing it to family and keeping it quiet and doing it to their children. And some of their children pick up those practices, do it at some of those. And this is going from family to family. And then when this part of the family moves up, somebody stays up here and visits the cousin does it. And then, so this thing is getting passed on because there's not an open dialogue and discussion about it to say it's got to stop. That makes the folks that are doing it freeze and say, see, now it's like a roach when the lights come on. He freezes for a minute because like, whoa, they can see me now. And then he got to run. But he freezes. And it's like a light goes off and say, hey, this is wrong. And now people got to decide what they're going to do because now I'm going to start giving some consequences because we got the light on. That means we see you. And obviously, you know you're doing something bad if you don't want to be seen. So on some cognitive level, our people know today that something is wrong. But the Europeans are very different. The ones that run their societies are the ones, again, like I told you, who made the homosexual movement. But I told you that. I want to show you. They've been practicing pedophilia. Remember? Pederasty. A grown male raping a little boy that's capable of satisfying a man's highest and noblest aspirations, as Plato said in the Symposium. In other words, the greatest joy that a European male can get is having sex with a little boy. The whole Greek Bambata personality comes out of a history of this sick psychopathic sexual madness that we're talking about. So what I want to show you here is that in today's world, I'm going to show you who was behind the homosexual movement. I can tell you it, but I'm going to show you. It's a group called NAMBLA, North American Man-Boy Love Association. They're one of the many groups of pedophile groups. They're just one of the open ones who actually are the sponsors of the whole homosexual movement.
NAMBLA, the North American Man-Boy Love Association, believes society is sexophobic and just needs to change its attitude towards pedophiles. NAMBLA claims to have more than 1,000 members. They communicate through a magazine, national conferences, and secret chapter meetings. We spoke with NAMBLA because, unlike most child molesters, they were willing to openly discuss their behavior. Experts say the way they think and act is representative of most pedophiles. 2 members agreed to meet with us.
What NAMBLA says is not merely okay, but positive is an intimate, nurturing, caring relationship between the generations.
They don't consider their actions sexual abuse. They don't think they use superior physical or psychological power.
Do you believe that you have never hurt a young person?
That's quite absolutely correct. I'm too responsible and caring individual to do something like that.
And how do you know for sure?
How does anyone know in any relationship?
I'd say it's impossible to come up with a description that fits all child molesters. Both men and women are capable of committing the crime. Some are attracted to only pre-adolescent girls or boys. Others prefer children who have reached puberty. The majority are sexually attracted to both children and adults. In fact, many are married. One thing child molesters have in common is they usually believe the young person initiated the sexual encounter.
Remember that.
You cannot give consent. That's
That's the nut of it. Children can't give consent because they don't know what they're giving consent to.
I would say in most cases they quite do. Certainly in light of the last couple of decades of life here in the United States, they would know that.
Child molesters can be arrested for their actions, but being a pedophile and wanting to molest children is not a crime.
There are certain needs you may have where you belong in prison or in some form of control if you can't prevent yourself from acting out on those needs. Now, we'll offer you treatment. We'll offer you ways of saying, look, maybe we can help you keep your hands off of little children.
Leland, did you ever consider or think about treatment to change your arousal?
If you felt, no, Rhonda, that you had been given a tremendous blessing from heaven above, something that livened your entire life, that colored it, that made it beautiful and wonderful, that made you want to be alive, that gave you a feeling that the universe is profoundly good, would you, in your wildest imagination, suppose that you would go to a therapist to cure you of feeling good, of feeling love?
Now, brothers and sisters, I'm going to go through, so I'm just showing you the highlights, but if you want more of this in depth, you can go to warnerhorizon.com, go to the store, and you can order Predators in Our Midst, or you can order, we also have another video called Effeminization of the Black Male Part 3, The Militant White Sex Assault. And it shows homosexuals saying we want to go after children, kind of what you're seeing here. So we definitely have these things available for you. We hope that you support and purchase these and share them. See them, share them to help have again, awareness. Awareness is so important. And we have the material out there. We've even, if you don't have the $20 to pay for the electronic download, the $25 plus shipping and handling for the DVD, Predators in Our Midst is on the Irritated Genie Speaks YouTube page for free, because we have to have our people have access to this information. So now, here's one of the groups. But see, I want you to see, I'm not just saying it. Here's in the 1970s where you see the Gay Rights March. But I want you to see, you see over here on the right, it says, fight lesbian and gay oppression. But look right here in the middle of the Gay Rights March, North American Man-Boy Love Association. I want you to hear what I'm saying. The homosexual movement is just a smokescreen. It's just the pedophiles have taken those who are now sick, giving them a platform to pretend like their sickness is normal, so that the pedophile can then hide the fact that they are what created this sickness in the first place. So to some degree, even though we know that the homophiles is all part of the same culture, in many ways, the individuals who call themselves homosexuals, who are not pedophiles, if there is such a thing, but who think that they were normal in doing it and who really believe that, a lot of times, and to some degree, they're victimized to the degree they haven't even realized that it's their sexual abuse that has led them to this madness. So they're being used, even though they're participants. They're still bad guys to us because they're pushing their madness on us. But really, the gay movement is being used by the pedophile movement to push the agenda, which is really their real agenda, is to do what? Have sex with children. How do we know? We go to the Gay Rights Platform of 1972. Now, I want you to pay attention to this. You can read the thing in your own time. You can read all of them. But I want you to see everything they're doing really is targeted mostly at children. Let's go to number 6. Federal encouragement and support for sex education courses prepared and taught by gay women and men, presenting homosexuality as a valid, healthy preference and lifestyle and a viable alternative to heterosexuality. So what are we saying here? They're saying they're going after sex education courses. Who are sex education courses designed for? Children. Let's go down to the state level. Number 5, enactment of legislation so that child custody, adoption, visitation rights, foster parenting, and the like shall not be denied because of sexual orientation or marital status. So homosexuals want access to who? Children. Why? Because these are not quote unquote homosexual. These are homophiles. They're pedophiles, pederasty, grown males with little boys. That's what the real movement is about. Number 7, repeal of all laws governing the age of sexual consent. You can go right now to your internet browser, put in the Gay Rights Platform in 1972, read them for yourselves. You see clearly it's aimed at targeting for sex with children. But I'll do even better. 21 years after this, they gained so much momentum with the pedophiles pushing the homosexuals into place under Bill Clinton that they actually held a gay rights march on Washington. And I'm just going to show you a very brief part of that to highlight, and again, watch for this. It's called the Gay Rights March on Washington. Yet their real objective, as they state, is to target children for sex.
Thus began the 1993 March on Washington for lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender equal rights.
We're young, we're queer, we're gonna rule the world. We're young, we're queer, we're gonna rule the world. The church, the state, hormones will decide my fate. The church, the state, hormones will decide my fate.
Hundreds of thousands of gays, lesbians, bisexuals, sadomasochists, and transgenders were attracted by the promise of a wild 3-day sexually indulgent celebration. The purpose of the 1993 March on Washington, which was funded in part by the Presidential Inauguration Committee, was to publicize the wide-ranging platform homosexuals were demanding that Congress enact. There were 7 broad demands, encompassing 55 sub-demands for gays, lesbians, bisexuals, and transgenders. Demand number 1 repeals all sodomy laws and legalizes any and all forms of sexual expression. Age of consent laws would be changed to allow sex with youth.
It's wrong that we have laws in America that criminalize sexual behavior, things like the age of consent law and sodomy repeal, and we're going to see that those laws will fall.
Demand number 3 legalizes marriages between members of the same sex. Legal adoption, custody, and foster care would also be allowed within these new homosexual family structures. Demand number 4 requires full inclusion of lesbians, gays, bisexuals, and transgenders in education, childcare, and school counseling programs. Gay activists have wasted no time in pushing their agenda into schools across America. Under the guise of AIDS education and multiculturalism, homosexuals are promoting their lifestyle to children beginning in preschool and kindergarten. Books such as Heather Has Two Mommies and Daddy's Roommate are currently being used in many private and public schools and libraries without the knowledge of parents. In addition, the playbook for kids about sex is being made available to elementary school children and gives specific instructions on various methods of masturbation. Michael Swift writes in Gay Community News, "We shall sodomize your sons, emblems of your feeble masculinity. We shall seduce them in your schools, in your dormitories, in your gymnasiums, in your locker rooms, in your sports arenas, in your seminaries, in your youth groups." Demand number 7 requires organizations such as the Boy Scouts of America to accept homosexual scoutmasters.
All of these groups, the sadomasochists, the pedophiles, the transsexuals, all were marching in the gay rights parade. The gay agenda is to have sex in any way you please.
We will not be able to live within this country as full human beings until we have the right to love whom we love, when we love, and where we love.
I know, don't get scared. That's why it's called War on the Horizon, but the war is here. So might as well go ahead and deal with it. So now, what I want people to see is, this is why it's so important that we have this conversation. The Europeans are no longer pushing the gay agenda. Again, it's not really, it's a smokescreen. The whole same-sex marriage, all of that was a smokescreen. All of this is being done for one reason: so they can target adult child sex. They want to make it, because the ones in control want to be able to have sex with children. They're already doing it, but they want to be able to do it legally and to be fully accepted. And the only way to do that is to take the victims of that sexual abuse and give them a platform to say that the results of the sexual abuse, which is the homosexuality, is normal. Thus, if it's normal, then there's nothing wrong with what leads to it, which is the sexual abuse in the first place. So it's all a design of a slow, very well calculated war to push this madness on our people. I know these are very graphic things, but here you see here in Chicago where they have new initiations for young boys into the gangs. Here's a sister taking a picture of it. Homophilia. Here you see in Atlanta, Pride School Atlanta, for LGBTQIA students. We're going to start calling it the LGPB, the lesbians, gays, pedophiles and bestiality. The LGPB. We got a different name. LGPB. That's our new name. The LGPB. Lesbians, gays, pedophiles, and bestiality. So that's what more like it. We see here they're doing it for students and families and educators, where they're creating schools where they can teach our children to be homosexuals before they even have a chance. What are these? This is the pedophile agenda, where they're taking the victims of sexual abuse and getting them to be the battering ram for teaching children that the results of sexual abuse, which is homosexuality, is acceptable, thus creating a total open playground for the pedophile.
A few weeks ago, it was just me and my wife. And now I'm a dad. Vincent's birth mother, she picked us. And I'm gonna do everything right by him. Family means everything. Show him what's underneath. Show him your jockey.
I couldn't make this stuff if I tried, brothers and sisters. So this is why this is so important. It's the sexual abuse in our community that's creating such a wide range of confused children that they can make perversion normal. Thus, it can draw the healthy brothers and sisters into perversion simply because it's popular culture, all being designed by the pedophile through the homosexual movement to totally destroy children.
What the fuck? Give me a snap. Hey, my shit fat. Clark, don't lie. My shit fat. He got ass like make a video. Hey, make a video. Hey, everybody twerk. Hey, everybody twerk. Wait, hold on. Oh, this nigga Clark. Yes. You know we cut up.
These are our sons taking the worst behavior that the Europeans have taught our daughters. This is the sick stuff we're doing. So let me see if there's anything else I want to show you. Because I think I don't want to go through the whole lecture here, but what I do want to do is I did want you to see those things I just showed you, because here it is, Predators in Our Midst. This is the DVD, also the book, War on the Horizon, Black Resistance to the White Sex Assault. You go to the War on the Horizon website. It's very important you get this. The reason I didn't realize, we're about to redo it. This is going to be the last printing, so you better get it now. We're changing the name to War on the Horizon, Black Resistance to the Homophile Assault, because the word homophile sticks out a little bit better for people to understand what it is. We're going to change the cover as well, and we're going to change a few of the chapters. We're going to have a couple, at least one extra chapter on Obama in it. So you're going to want to get this now, because it'll be the last of the original printing of the book. Go to warnhorizon.com, go into the Woe book, and you can get it, or go into the store and you can get it as well. This is something that you want to have, though. You want to have this because this is something that is more in depth. It was written in 2003 and then finally finished and published in 2005. But you'll be able to see, as I told people in 2003 where things were headed, 2005 when it was published, you'll be able to see, okay, 10 years down the line, where was Irritated Genie when he was saying to us what was going to happen in terms of the sexual stuff? You'll be able to look at it and go, wow, okay, we're here. But also the book tells you what we have to do to prevent this. And of course, now you can also look at Predators in Our Midst to really see a more in-depth understanding, to understand this is what we're really fighting. If you don't understand this part, quite frankly, brothers and sisters, then you don't really understand what you're fighting right now. And I want to play this. You know what? I don't need to play that clip. People have seen that. If you watch the, if you saw the thing that we did out in New York, if you saw the press conference we had. But if anybody wants to, if you want to hit one and you want to come on and you want to say something, go ahead and hit the number 1. So I'll bring you on. But I wanted people to see this because I wanted people to be able to ingest. Okay, what are we facing? If we do not, we got to understand this. The whole Hillary Clinton thing is there's not a race. I hope people are hearing me. Nobody listened to me when Obama was getting in office. I said, this is a homosexual assault on our race. People didn't listen to me. We paid for it. I hope you hear me. Don't even waste your time with this whole election. It's WWF. He never had a chance. Hillary Clinton is in office. Her job is to completely destroy manhood, to bring females out to eat men and say that men are not valuable and not needed in families, and to push the homosexual, lesbian, and transgender even worse than Obama, which, if you can imagine it being possible, and to completely destroy black men. This is going to be the most violent assault on black manhood we've ever seen in this country, worse than Obama. Hillary Clinton is something y'all don't understand, and because she's a female, she can justify the abuse behind her female ways and looks. Hopefully, our women will not be drawn in by this feminist lesbianism pull from Hillary, but it looks like that's what's happening. So we have to be very prepared to make her a demon. We cannot do what we did with Obama. We got to demonize her from the time she walks in so that black people around the world are like, this is the most wicked demon whore of Babylon that could have possibly been in there, and she's an enemy to African people because that's what she's going to bring us pain. But if you think that the homosexuality and pedophilia is bad now, you cannot imagine what's about to happen in the next 4 years, or if they plan for her to be the 8 years. I think they're going to do at least 4 years with her. Then they're going to bring in a small hat. I mean, they just bringing out whatever his name. What was his name that was running against her? I forget his name. Bernie Sanders or some other small hat. The hats are getting bold. They want to just put their face right out there now. They could totally control it right now, but they're ready to just come out and just take the country over altogether just to show you that the hats are in control. But right now, Hillary Clinton is a problem. And the push, that's why you need that War on the Horizon book. You need this discussion like we're doing now. We need to have a very depth of understanding. We got to fight pedophilia, because if we fight pedophilia and we take a platform against it, we're going directly at the agenda of genocide of African people. And even the whites are under siege. Even the Asians are under siege with this homophile assault. That's homosexuality and pedophilia together. That's our new term, homophile. That way you don't have to say if they're homosexual or pedophile. We lumping them together. You're homophile, because it's all part of the same European sick pederasty concept. So we just call them homophiles. That they can be a homosexual, they can be a pedophile, lesbian, whatever. It's just homophiles. This whole homophile assault is the major thing we have to concentrate on, because when we stop it, we become the leaders of the world on a social and moral basis, even more than the civil rights movement, which was, that's one thing, or even the freedom movement, even more than that movement where people marching. This is different. We're saying that black men and women must be together and build healthy families, and we must fight people raping children and the homosexual agenda that comes out of children being raped. That is a tagline to any decent person on this planet. It don't even matter if they decent in the sense of racially. It just calls any person that doesn't want to be insane to say, this is a righteous cause. They don't even have to support us. It just shows a clean glass of water next to the dirty glass of water, and it makes us a more palatable group to launch this war for our survival. It brings African people together. If no one else, our brothers and sisters around the world can hear us, because we can all speak the same language, straight, black, and proud. We're not going to let nobody mess with our children and rape our children. We're not going into your homosexual madness. This is what we're dealing with, brothers and sisters, and it's critical. Let me go to my phone lines, because I see the phones are lit up. Hit number 1 if you want to speak. I'm going 9027, 6430, 1251, 4718. Those are the 4 I got in the queue. If you got some more, go ahead and hit it now. Let me go 9027. Praise Nat Turner. Glory to God. Be long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad.
Hey, what's going on, everything? This is Cesario out the okay?
Oh man, this is the only thing, brother. I know you're my brother, but we gotta say the greeting, man. And I know you can't say the greeting, brother. And I don't get passes here. They don't give me no passes. If I let you do this, bro, I ain't gonna never hear this, man. So I tell you what.
Okay, well, what I will do, what I think I can do, is I can give reverence to Nat Turner,
okay,
to Marcus Garvey, and to Khalid Muhammad.
All right, that's a good compliment. I think they'll let me off the hook on that. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, I think that's it. I mean, the work that they've done, in their time, I think we came with some reverence, to represent the struggle that they fought for and died for that matter, the work that they've done. I specifically like Khalid Muhammad. I like them all. I like Khalid Muhammad because I damn near don't think nobody really likes people more than Khalid Muhammad. So he's one of my personal favorites.
Yes,
so
sir.
I think I came with them, reverence for, what they've done here in America. So I hope that's good enough.
Come on in, talk to me, man. Look. You my man. So you my brother, man. I tell people all the time, man. Look, y'all can talk about the Hebrew Israelites all the day. them brother ISUPK, I roll with them cats, man, especially Tazariak, man. I like that brother and that crew.
And I roll what you're saying.
Come on here, talk to us, man.
I was listening. I caught the show, not in the beginning, I had to run around and do, but I was listening. And one of the things you said was that we got to teach awareness. And you said something else that was important. Like in this day and age in 2016, the way that we're being raised in the American society, homosexuality, lesbianism, even if you want to go as far as to say raping, it's really not looked at as something that's bad. Like that's what makes this fight even harder, which is why. And then I heard the sister say that if this would have happened to us, if this molestation would have happened to the sisters and not to Poppy and Ron Savage, it probably would go unnoticed. And that's sad too, because she's actually correct. We can't even, they can't even argue that point, which is why it's very important that organizations like yours, organizations like mine, that we don't stop the fight against it. And then I remember I was listening to you, and you also said how when you did your first meeting, not meeting, but a thing dealing with it, like 2 people showed up. I think those 2 people were the strongest people. And then as you didn't stop, you just keep building it and building it and building it. When we had that lecture last Sunday, I mean, it was brothers that came from Cincinnati, from Florida, just to tell their story, because you and I was able to give them some strength. And I think that's the importance of an organization like Straight Black Pride, an organization like ISUPK, where you have men that are on the front line, not for the spotlight, but for the spotlight. Meaning, we ain't for the spotlight in the sense for you to know my name or your name or nothing like that. We're in it to bring the spotlight to what's happening, or the biggest secret in the Black community, which is child molestation, the raping that takes place. I'll give another example. There was a sister that was raped in Brooklyn, New York. And I think ISUPK is the only organization that spoke out against it. It was like some brothers, they saw the sister in the park and they just raped her like it was normal. You know what I mean? Like it's normal to do. So that's the biggest fight that we got. Like we know the white man is the devil, we know his weapons, and his weapons been used so good to where when you speak against homosexuality, I'm told I must be a homo because I'm speaking against homosexuality. I don't understand that. And then I'm being called that by someone who's clearly a homo. So the battle that we got to fight is far greater, man. And I think we should be, like Poppy and them are like the superheroes. And we're the reporters, making sure that story don't die.
That's right.
Take events like what KRS-One did.
You said, wait. Gay arrest one. You gave us. You can't take it back.
I'm sorry. I did think you say that too. Thank you for giving me the credit. I did say KRS-One. So, like when KRS-One came out and did that, imagine if you didn't say nothing, I didn't say nothing, or Papa didn't say nothing, and then we didn't provide a platform. It would still be the norm. And Bambaataa would be like Uncle Johnny or Uncle Dave. It's a cat that, oh yeah, he's molesting kids, don't go in the house, but if you go in the house, you're going to get molested. Like, it's treated like that's the norm. So we have to make sure that that's not the norm. So it got to be something where, we constantly pushing out this information, which is why you'll continue to have my support. So we got to make sure we constantly pushing out this information, pushing awareness, and keep building. And if we get 10 brothers, 20 brothers, 30 brothers, and we just keep building and building and building, eventually that awareness to get to the point to where there won't be a child touched. Or if that child gets touched, that child know that they have a voice or somebody that they can listen to. So that's the biggest battle that we fight. But it's a battle I'm willing to fight for it to the end. Somebody got to do it. So that's why them 3 men that you mentioned, Garvey, Nat Turner, Khalid Muhammad, what makes it good that you reverence them is because they died for what they believe in. Nat Turner died trying to free black people. Everybody knows Khalid Muhammad's reputation and Marcus Garvey. They really, truly fought for the freedom of black people. And so we have to look at them and look at other men. Like Denmark Vesey also wanted to lead a slave revolt as well back in the day. So we got to look at them and other men that were really about the conditions of black people and not about frivolous issues, because we can deal with entertainment anytime. But sometimes entertainment got to take a back burner to what's directly affecting it. And really, It's the entertainment that's allowing us to accept it. That's why when R. Kelly peed on the girl, everybody watched the tape. Ain't nobody think it was wrong for him to be pissing on a girl because it was R. Kelly. You know what I mean? So that entertainment is what we gonna have to eventually push to the side because it shouldn't be at the sacrifice of our children. So I think you did a hell of a show. You played that tape you played with Nambla, insane.
Let me ask you.
Right there.
I appreciate that. I wanna ask you something, man, because and for brothers and sisters out there, I'm telling y'all, listen. I know y'all out there. Why he get? Look, this is my man. So he got that one over. I liked it too because for him to come that far this way, and look, this is what I love that we doing. I want y'all to hear this. You know, daggone well, the Hebrew Israelites think that we crazy out our mind for our African nationalist position. And we think they just as crazy with some of the stuff they talking. But listen to this. That man made a way for him to say something that he can go back and say, I didn't do what I wasn't supposed to do, but he made a way to be able to get here and speak. And I made a way for him to let him come on here and speak. We've made a way to work together on something that's important, as opposed to making excuses for why two black men and two black groups who think their black children need to stop being raped and molested and the homosexuality needs to be stopped being promoted in our community. We've been able to figure out how we can work together to fight it. What separates us from what the rest of our people are doing that we can't get other people to take serious issues like this, brother? Hold on 1 second, real quick. I want you to answer that. But brothers and sisters, call 425-569-5186. Again, 425-569-5186. If you're listening on your computer. Again, if you're listening on your computer and you want to hear, you're going to have to call 425-569-5186 because we only got a minute left. And if you're watching it on video, then you can continue to watch and you'll be fine. Not a problem. But one more time, 425-569-5186. Go ahead and answer that question for me, my brother Tazariak.
I think the most important thing to answer that question, why we're able to do that for the greater cause, is the sincerity in what we're doing. Like if this was a hustle by you or me, it would all be about the drama. So the drama would be, you call yourself Kemet, I call myself Israelite. I ain't doing nothing if it ain't Israel. I don't care if you Kemet and vice versa. That's the drama or the nonsense. But when you see the bigger picture, which is our black children, because, you know, I'm not old, but, you know, black men don't live that long, at least in this day and time. So at some point, it may not be no Tazariak, it may not be no 10 seconds, but it's going to be the children that come up under us, or the men that come up under us. So if there's nobody like us to lay down a foundation for them to look after, then what? So now, is all they're going to learn is that these black men couldn't do nothing but argue with each other all day about their ideological differences that the children don't understand, the young men don't understand, because all they looking at us is black men. So now, they don't understand that. So they're like, y'all arguing over Jesus? Y'all arguing over Forrest? Or y'all arguing over this? And meanwhile, I'm getting molested and ain't saying nothing about that. So when me and you decided, I mean, like I always say, man, we would set the standard on how we can come together. We would show the people how it's done, to where not only we could do a lecture, but people would now know that it wasn't just for lecture's sake, because we still communicate and still do the same exact thing. So the answer to the question is, we actually care about black people. We don't just say that we care just so that we can get some venue money or lecture money or debate money or something like that. But we actually do care. So that means I got to deal with this brother. I mean, we may have to deal with all different kinds of brothers. It may not just be a Kemetic brother or Israelite brother. It might be a Christian brother or a Muslim brother. So, like, we come from all different, like, we're so scattered in our belief system. We're so scattered as a nation. We all gonna come from different walks of life. So we don't all have to say, man, let's get to this table, let's deal with these issues, and as we deal with these issues, we work this out, or we compromise here, or deal with this here. But we gotta at least have a common goal of black unity, brothers and sisters coming together to fight against the so-called white man, because that divisiveness is a perfect tactic by the so-called white man. As long as you can have yours and I can have mine, the white man don't mind, but now you can see it don't matter. The straight black pride in ICBK is showing everybody how they can do it and still be a man of what he stands for, and I'll be a man of what I stand for. So the best answer I can give is that we actually care about what we do. This ain't a hustle. That's the best answer I can give.
Wow, that's powerful. You got anything in closing, bro? You dropping so many. Let me tell you, brother and sister, if y'all didn't, when are you gonna put up the when are y'all gonna put out?
I thought it would be up. I thought it would be up by today, but they had to do some last minute editing, so it should be up tomorrow. The lecture should be up, for everybody to check out. I mean, it's a powerful lecture. I mean, Irritated Gene did an excellent job. I did an excellent job, and I think it's a powerful lecture. And in closing, like I said, I give all my support to Irritated Gene and the Straight Black Pride movement. I'll be down in DC to support your event that you're having. I think it's August 20th.
Yes, sir.
The right date?
Yes, sir.
I'll be down there August 20th to support the brothers' event. Lord willing, maybe we'll do something later on down the road. But he'll always have my support. If you need anything, you got my number. You give me a call. We can work something out.
Hey, man, let's do it. And I appreciate the great work y'all doing. Keep putting that word out on the street for our people, man. And we definitely see you on the battlefield, brother.
I thank you, brother. You take care.
All right. That's the cap right there. Captain Tazariak, ISUPK Nation. Listen, brothers and sisters. I'm going to tell y'all something. Y'all better hear this. What we're doing by taking two separate nations that don't have the same philosophy on anything else, but who had the same philosophy on protecting black children, or close enough of the same philosophy, work together, we're demonstrating what you call unity. We're not two groups that are sitting up here and we already are aligned. We don't have alignment in all the things, but we found something we agree on, and we can treat each other like brothers, where he can come on a line where we have a strict guideline of how we say stuff, and I can be held accountable by the audience to a strict guideline, but I want to hear what he got to say. He want to say something. He give a little bit, I give a little bit, and all of us can hear the benefit of what his wisdom is, because the brother is a wise brother in the day and time we in. And now two nations can come together on some common ground, then go home. They can be the Israelites they are. We can be the Africans that we are. But when it's all said and done, there's a force out here to protect our women and children and our families and communities from what's going on, because we can put our differences aside. We're showing people how it can be done. What we need you to do as a community, when we doing that, you got to show up. You got to come and support, because people say they want to see unity, then we bring the unity. Well, we need to see that the people appreciate the unity, and then we can do much bigger and better things and much faster. Let me go to 6430. Praise Nat Turner. Glory to Garvey. Long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad.
Praise Nat Turner. Glory to Garvey, and long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Muhammad.
How you doing, my sister?
I'm doing fine. I'm really happy that I got through, because I can never get through. I didn't think that I got through on your line.
No, you came through. I can hear you crispy and loud and clear too.
Okay. I've been following you online for several years. I've just never been able to get through the call. So
okay,
it's good to finally talk to you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Well, I'm glad you got through too. What's your Facebook name?
My name on Facebook is Shapella Johnson Triplet, but my Facebook's actually deactivated right now.
Okay. So come on and talk to us, sister.
Okay, and I just want to bring out the point. I'm not a black nationalist, but I do follow the black nationalist community. Mm-hmm. And I live in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So I live in the Midwest. I'm not too far from Chicago. So that's not too far from Chicago, but live in Wisconsin. And I was going to say, I really enjoy like the clips that you played just now, but I do follow your website and actually go onto your YouTube page too. Mm-hmm. And I was going to say, what you're talking about is no over-exaggeration at all. I worked in the hotel industry for several years, and I worked in customer service for more than several years. Actually, way more than several years. I'll be 34 next year. I'm single. I don't have any children. But most of my family is here in Milwaukee. Well, the majority of my immediate family. But I was going to say, I don't have children, but I do have a nephew, and I have little cousins. And, you know, it's really important to really be protective of Black children and, you know, Black women, of course, too. Because with a lot of white people, the biggest thing I'm starting to realize with white people is that white people feel that Black people shouldn't have any personal rights. They feel like Black people shouldn't have any rights over their own bodies. I know people are like, you know, what do you mean? Don't they feel that way about each other? I'm like, they do. They specifically feel that way against Black people. If you follow what I'm saying, they feel like Black people shouldn't have any rights over their own bodies, including Black men. I mean, it's very sexist the way that they feel, particularly towards Black men, but definitely towards Black. But you know, they're more hung up on Black men and getting to Black children. I would say even more so than Black women. The only time they see Black women as important is because of the fact that Black women can get pregnant and have Black children that they can violate. So I just want to bring out that point. I'm not going to take up too much of your time, but maybe probably have other calls that are coming through. But I really want to bring out that point because I in no way was raised to be a Black nationalist. My parents are not very conscious at all. My family's not very conscious at all. I mean, my family, they're Jehovah's Witnesses, and they're not conscious at all. But particularly with us, with Black people in this country, they feel that Black people should not have any personal rights. And I know this is like far, people are like, what do you mean? I'm like, no, they really feel that way, that we shouldn't have any rights over our own bodies and that we shouldn't have a choice. It sounds like everybody's like my friends. I try to talk to a lot of my female friends. And, you know, a lot of them have white friends that they associate with at work or white friends they associate with in their families. We have white in-laws in our families. And white people can be very invasive. They're very invasive. And I didn't even realize it until I got older. They're very invasive. And, you know, they do want to sexually assault the Black family, including the white women. They want to come in and sexually assault the Black family. I mean, so I just want to bring that point out that, you know, you're not over-exaggerating that. And I definitely follow you on YouTube, Facebook, when I was on Facebook. Mm-hmm. So I just want to bring that point out.
Okay, if you could do me a favor, because I'm hearing what you're saying, but it's some real deep stuff in what you're saying. If you could do me, I don't know, do you write? Mm-hmm. Do you ever write?
I do write.
Do me a favor.
I do.
I want you to write what you just said up, and then whenever you get it finished, send it to, and I don't care how long it is or short it is, to liberation@warnthehorizon.com. The reason I'm saying that is because I'm hearing deeper stuff in what you're saying, but it's like you're saying it, but you don't have the time right now, or you haven't thought it all the way out to really give the specific examples and breakdown to explain it. But it sounds like a very deep and beneficial conversation, because as you were saying it, I started thinking about a lot of different things I remember happening historically in my life. And I was like, wow, I never thought of it the way, but what you said capsulizes it. But I'd like you to develop that, and maybe down the line we'll do a program on it or something like that, because I think it's very, very profound what you're saying.
Thank you, because this is something that I was not aware of. Like I said before, I'll be 34 next year. I'm 33. I wasn't aware of this 10, 15 years ago. Well, 15 years ago, I was a teenager, but I wasn't as aware of it as I am now. I think the internet, me being on the internet, has really helped me to read, because I read comments online from white people. And I know that, I got molested myself. I was molested by a family member. You know, it's definitely, I've had bad stuff happen to me from Black people. It's happened. But I do think that Black people have been very influenced by white people in this country. They've been very influenced. But I read some stuff online, and Irritated Genie is so egotistical of white men. They're very egotistical, and they're very, very sleazy. Very sleazy and very arrogant. Extremely arrogant. I can't believe how arrogant they can be. Because I've worked around white men. I work with white men in my current job. Very arrogant. But I would say most of their arrogance come out more on the internet. Extremely arrogant. Most of them do have homosexual tendencies. Most of them do. They have like homosexual. They come up to me at work when I used to work at the hotel, and they say just like the most. They say things to me as me being first of all being a black and being a woman that you just shouldn't say to a black woman. It's like, why are you saying that to me? You know, we're in two totally different worlds. You're not supposed to say that to me. Don't say that to me. You know, this is very egotistical and it's very sleazy. You know, and you know, I'm not married right now. And I think that if I was married and I had my husband come to the job, that wouldn't have happened. But you know, I just want to bring out those points because you're not over exaggerating that. I mean, I try to tell my friends that, and they just don't get it. They're brainwashed. A lot of my friends are, unfortunately.
Gotcha.
So I want to bring that point out.
All right. Well, thank you for calling. I know it's your first time getting through, but call back, hit number 1, and you'll come through another time. And also write some of this stuff down because I think it'll really come out well if you start writing it. And then whenever you do, send us some stuff, and maybe we bring on this program and really talk about that as a subject. All right, sister?
All right.
All right. Straight Black Pride.
Okay. Straight Black Pride.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. And what I'm really appreciating, like the sister did, I know she didn't get into it deep, but it's so important. We have this forum, like the brother said from St. Louis today. Now the sister can say, hey, it happened to me. So now what we're getting is people are talking about it. And I don't think people really realize how healing that is, because there's a lot of people out there who might not call and say it happened to me, but they're hearing so many people's happened to them. They're like, wow, it's not me. I wasn't the one that was at fault. I'm not crazy. And people can realize, wow, this is a major problem we have. And it's not me, it's us. And something can be done about it. And there's a place where I can go and say something. Next week is going to be much deeper because we're going to really have, at least we're going to have our sister Delana Dobbins on. And if possible, we may have, like I said, I'm going to try to reach out to get, see if we can have a sister from Baltimore, the psychologist. I just drew a blank. I said it before, but she was on Hidden Colors 4, which I think is phenomenal. You got to get that if you get a chance. Go ahead and make the purchase. Don't buy the bootleg. I know some of y'all say, I don't like Tyreek. Well, you don't have to like him, but this product that he put out is of extreme benefit to our people. So please, trust the Irritated Genie on this one. Part 4 is something you want to have. Let me go to 1251. Praise Nat Turner. Glory to Garvey. Long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad.
Praise Nat Turner. Glory to Garvey. Long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. Also, I would like to say, raise Charles Deslons and honor to the deacons for defense and justice, being a brother from Louisiana.
Yes, sir.
I have a question, and I would also like to make a comment. Question being, how useful are the little cards, the postcards, or whatever you might say that the devil put out when brothers are incarcerated for sex offenses, and they put them out in our neighborhoods, notifying us when these brothers are nearing release and are about to come home. How useful are these to us as far as actually identifying? I guess what I'm asking is, what are the credibility of these in identifying brothers within our own communities that are near us, that are guilty of participating in these types of activities that we are discussing right now?
I would say that's an excellent question, brother. From my experience, I would say they're too valuable for us not to use. However, this is the tendency of the government. If you are really a pedophile, they tend to lessen the blow on that. But if you are a brother that was 19, that was dealing with a girl, she told you she was 18, but she was really 15, you didn't know, you believe she was of age, they try to stick those guys. So what happens is a guy, so it's like one of those things, it's too useful not to use, because there are a lot of sexual predators that if you just looked at the information, they just sexual predators, period. But you also have to look at the charge, because they'll classify him as a sexual predator, then you'll read the charge and go, you gotta be kidding me. And I know a brother right now who the girl was 15, but literally the police officer that went and saw her said, I swore she was 25. She met his family. He took her home. I mean, he thought this was the woman he was going to marry. Messed around and found out she was underage. And now he's like, what? He had no idea. But now he's dealing with the situation where the police and everybody involved are like, this guy's getting a shaft. Anybody looking at her is going to think she's 25 years old. But at the same time, they want to throw the book at him because he's a black guy that's not the guy. But what they do with the pedophiles, sometimes they get real time, but a lot of times they give them lesser charges and make it easier for them. So I say, again, I'm going to say it one more. I know I said it already, but we got to use it because probably 70% of the people on there are people we need to know about and don't want in our communities and got to keep them away from our children. But then there'll be that 30% that you really got to look at hard and say, this guy got a bad shake and they doing it inappropriately. And it's not a person that we want to look at the same way. So that would be my answer to that.
Okay. I want to say, man, much respect and appreciation for this show and for what a lot of you brothers, man, out there doing as far as making us aware of what's actually going on out here. And you know, man, it was some while ago I was exposed to the video on the African Insurrection Music channel, Don't Get Caught, man. That really is my sentiment as to what how we should handle these type issues within our community. 100% on deck on that. That should be the solution of how it should be handled. And you know, when I listened, I was actually on my bike, man, when the show first kicked off, and I heard the call. And you know, it's really disturbing. It's really disturbing to me, man, that this type of mentality is within our community. Because you know, it's so much. You know, as I think I heard another brother speak earlier. You know, we aware of the devil. You know, through the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and you know, we become aware of the devil and his trick knowledge and all, but you know, not now to be made aware of just how sick so many of us are within a community. It's disheartening at times, you know, and just how to deal with it. You know, the initial feeling of, you know, wanting to, you know, handle it, to don't get caught with, you know, but you know, it's a dilemma, man, and I guess, you know, like you, brother, I have young children. I have a 3-year-old son and an 18-month-old daughter. So for me, this issue has taken like precedence right now. As you know, it's like I'm at the point now I don't even want my children to go to public school. You know, right now I'm in the process now of moving, you know, to independent school. You know, and surrounding them with people who think as you all do, as we do. But I guess the other thing I wanted to make say, and also a shout out to that sister that just got off. Ironic that she called in because I too was raised as one of Jehovah's Witnesses, and still have family members who are Jehovah's Witnesses. Like that sister say, they're not even on this page, man. Integrationist minded, and just not even on this page to be able to even dialogue with them on this level. So, once more, I'm grateful to have this platform to be able, you know, to come together with like minds. But what I wanted, the last thing I wanted to say at the end of this call, whether or not you're aware, there was a show that Dr. Neely Fuller Jr. just recently did on February the 6th. And the topic of that show was counter-racist sexuality and seeking truth. And at the beginning of that show, the brother put forth something from his notes that just once more points to just how sick the direction of this society is heading in. And I'm going to read it verbatim. This was his exact words. I copied them and made a note of them. I even posted them on my page. And it's ironic, man. You can post foolishness to get all kind of hits in life. But when you post real stuff, you know, it's like, you know, you don't even, you know, I didn't even get it in any note. It was like people saw it. I know they saw it, but it was like nobody made a comment. You know, it's like, nah, we don't want to comment on this. You know, and it's just we in shape, man. We in a shape. But I'm grateful to brothers like you, and you know, I heard the brother Cesariak. You know, I caught that press conference that you all did, and you know, those are the things that I see that gives me hope for us as a people. But this is the statement that Dr. Neely Fuller Jr. made on sexual confusion. He said, apparently, according to some of the plans of the white supremacists, the black female vagina and its value is to become obsolete, and the white male anus is to be the new black vagina for black males. Black females are directly or indirectly being taught that the holy grail of supreme sexual real estate is the white female vagina. And you know, it was kind of profound for me as a statement, because the other thing is that, see, I actually have a sister, a blood sister, my younger sister, who calls herself a New African activist, but is also a homosexual. And it's actually paid, you know, to go around the country holding anti-racism seminars, but you know, is very much a part of this promoting of, you know, this homosexual agenda. She is in a lesbian relationship, you know, so you know that is other pain. Even as I see these things, I see the sickness even within my own family, you know, and just understanding and coming to terms with this and finding ways and means to deal with, you know, the sickness just within our own family, you know, man. And not only that, man, my children's mother expressed to me some years ago that she dealt with that in her family, and while I was actually in a relationship with her, one of her aunt's sons actually abused one of his sisters. So you know, it's just all around, man. And I guess I wasn't really aware of just the degree of it, but as you was talking about the 70%, and you know, a few years ago, I remember seeing that video that Dr. Mamadi did, you know, on the, you know, the feminization of the black male, you know, and just listening to it and actually seeing these things, you know, being exposed more and more. It's really need to stay aware and find solutions. You know, so, thank you for letting me make that comment, man. And Straight Black Pride. I also want to ask you, do you have T-shirts, Straight Black Pride T-shirts?
We're gonna have them for the convention in Washington D.C. on August the 20th. Hopefully you can make it up. So we're gonna have a bunch of them there so that everybody can get their size. But that's going to be August 20th. You think? I hope you're going to be able to make it up that weekend for the convention.
I would love to, brother.
All right. Well, get online, get this stuff, get your tickets and everything. Come on out. And I tell you what, if you decide that you're going to actually make it, you get your ticket and everything, you send an email to Liberation at One Horizon and say, hey, I'm the brother that called this night. This is my name. I bought my ticket. And I'm going to have a complimentary shirt from you. You're going to come all the way from New Orleans, brother. I'm going to make sure we got a complimentary. You give you a size. We're going to take care of it. Make sure it's right for you. Matter of fact, we're going to send it to you in the mail if you get it to us soon enough so that you can wear it once we'll be wearing it up when you come up.
That sounds good, brother. And when you say, when is it again?
It's August 20th, Saturday, August 20th.
August 20th, okay.
All right.
All right.
Straight Black Pride, my brother.
Straight Black Pride. Straight Black Pride.
Yeah, somebody got to have it. Let me go to 4718. Praise Nat Turner. Glory to Garvey. Long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad.
Peace. How you doing? Praise Nat Turner. Glory to Garvey. Long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, brother. Come on in. Talk to me.
All right. First of all, I want to say, you know, you and Paragon, what's his name?
Brother Tazariak, Captain Tazariak.
Yeah, Major, I want to say that you're doing a great job. You feel me?
Appreciate it.
Keep the whole black family thing straightened out, you know, keep it strong. For looking out for this, for your own, especially for those who suffer from this, molestation and stuff like that. But what I want to say though, the thing is, I feel like, majority of black people, they need is power, man. They need at least establishing law. You feel me? Where, like, if you just continue to do a lot of talking, you ain't got the support of the whole community, and you ain't got no power to show for it, this thing will continue to happen, though. Some one way or the other. So they're going to keep repeating over and over again. But at the end of the day, we know that when there's a community, when everybody come together, it's all that's where, everybody, and basically look at other nations, everybody got each other back. But we know in America it's harder. So the thing is, people, for those people who are conscious, all they gotta do is keep going to people's houses and talk to one another. You know what I'm saying? If you truly want this power that people are talking about, this, just like other nations, you gotta continue to go talk to people. Simple as that. You know what I'm saying? And I know you put in a lot of work. You know what I'm saying? Well, I don't know for a day and a half of this. So you're doing a good job though. But for other people, like, we have this problem with our children. You listen, I agree with you what you're doing everything.
Yes, sir.
That's about it, man.
All right. Yeah. Well, definitely appreciate that call, and I agree with you, man. All we got to do is come together and work together and develop some power, and that power is in people and organized people. So excellent point, my brother. Appreciate hearing you call back again. Haven't heard you in a minute. And you straight black pride, all right, my brother?
Peace out, peace.
All right. 2081. Praise Nat Turner. Glory to Garvey. Long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad.
Praise Marcus Garvey. Praise Nat Turner. And praise Khalid Abdul Muhammad. And we forgot one other great soldier, Barry J.J., and that is definitely.
All right. Fantastic, brother. Come on and talk to me, brother.
One thing that I've come to understand and known, and it's interesting, I didn't know the videos that you played, you talk more in depth about the slave farm in regards to the black male being used as a sex toy or object to be creating more breeders for slaves.
Right.
I didn't know that's how the process goes in regards to, and it tells you right there, say, see, these people in nature are really homosexual because why would you be cutting the fat? I know the genres of what you call the power to annihilate, but to sit there and cut off black man's genital is gay in itself. Because no other race people they do this. They do it to us because they have an issue. This is a sick mentality. As I even now come now understand grits. Even when they hang, most of our people not only hang it, but they hang the man, they castrate it, which is worse than us. But moving on to the point, in regards to selection, a lot of people paying attention. It really matters who they put in office because a lot of these cats they put in office, they follow script. They push.
Let me do this. We really trying to wrap the program up. We really a half an hour over time. Could you give me a quick point or comment? Because I got to go to 53, 54, and then we're gonna wrap the program up. Give me a closing comment, my brother.
That's pretty much it. I just want to say my little 2-3 pieces on it. Just let you know.
All right.
So yeah, people.
Straight black pride, brother.
Because this world is not gonna be the same. And we don't make a change, it's going to be hard, but it's going to be around for the next century. It's going to be still tough, but it's going to be very little. That's all I got to say.
All right.
Straight African pride.
All right, brother.
Thank you.
Straight black pride. All right, 53, 54. Praise Nat Turner. Glory to Garvey. Long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. Come on in, end it for me strong. Strong.
Praise Nat Turner. Glory to Garvey. And long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. You heard me?
That's strong. Yes, sir.
You heard me?
Yes, sir.
Right. This plan B. I try to catch you when I can irritate Jenny.
Yes, sir.
Then I just want to make a couple of points. It's something that came up. The sister who was on a few minutes ago
she came in so loud and clear, and you caught on to the same thing I did. She got some more information that, you know what I mean? She wanna learn some more stuff, but she done seen some stuff, and she done put some 1 and 2 and 2 together type stuff, and that's what you do. I agree with her point on the evasiveness of the white man's nature, because I see it all the time. He always want to tell a black man what to do, where to go, where to stand. Even if you sitting up here working on your own car, he want to come and tell you how you need to fix it. You know what I mean? It's that in him. But as far as these things, you trying to separate these things. You got pedophilia, homophilia, you know, all of that. It made me think, man. I remember when I was younger, you have all these things. You have people touch on children, this, that, but you also have this thing of you not, you know, I want to say this right. When you leave children alone, little ones, there is something that makes them simulate sex on each other, and it's usually the same sex, same gender. I caught one of my youngest nephews. I caught some little young boy trying to hump on him outside. They didn't know what they was doing. They didn't know nothing about it. You know, I know they hadn't seen that nowhere. They was that young. And I called another real young family member, girl on girl. They didn't know what they was doing, but it was basically simulated sex. And when I thought about that, when I remembered that, just listening to the show, I'm like, you know, you got that thing, you got, you know, the reason I keep bringing up their age, because I believe as young as they was, I can't pinpoint how old they were, but they were very young that they couldn't have just known what they were doing. You understand what I'm saying? There's no way they could have known that, but they were doing it. So it makes me think, if this type of thing, whatever this is, it's, you know, it can be, obviously it can be a learned behavior, it can be, you know, forced upon, whatever. But I think it's something that, you know, when you add a list of what goes on, you gotta, that's why the parents be like, don't y'all have that door closed back there, leave that door, because you know the kids get mad and see and touch and all that happens. And I just want to know, I don't know exactly if I'm making a point, but I'm just saying that's a thing at that age that ends up being a thing one way or another. Go ahead, brother, because I'm going to
say this. I totally understand what you're saying, but I'm going to disagree with the point to this degree. And I'm going to give you a few examples. One, I remember being little, and I was at my babysitter's, and she watched soap operas, and she had a daughter. We were the same age. We were like probably 5, maybe. But on the soap operas, people would kiss. And it's the weirdest thing. I was just thinking about this the other day. I remember thinking, I was talking to my wife about, and she was saying how we've been exposed to so much stuff we don't even think about. And I thought about it, and I said, it just hit me, and I thought, we used to go back and kiss, but we were only 5. Now, if you saw 2 5-year-old, a little boy and a little girl, they were kissing, you would say they're too young to have seen anything. But the reality of it, that's not true. In the environment that we're in now, I'm gonna keep it real. I've had my 3-year-old daughter tell me something that her 3-year-old friend told her about homos kissing. Now, this is a 3-year-old girl telling my daughter that. How did she even know the word homos? And so I'm saying,
well, today I can see how it can happen.
Right. But I'm saying, this was when I was 5 years old, and I'm going to say, if I was doing that and I was 5, if we were watching those and we were 3, I'd have been doing the same thing. Might have been even worse, because at 3, watching it, I wouldn't even have had a sense of even a feeling with it, just doing what's being seen. At least when I was 5, I was at least 5. So I'm saying that to say, I don't agree that it's just, if you just random, now, will children do weird things? Yeah. But the inclination to do sexual things from children comes from some level of exposure to those things. I'll give you another one. When I used to stay at my cousin, actually he's my older cousin's house. His mom had boyfriends over. And she was dating one guy. But I remember when we used to go and try to look into the room and see what was going on. Now, we never really saw what was going on, but we knew something was going on in there. So the fact that we wanted to see it, if she had been any more open to where she didn't be concerned, we would have seen that stuff, or we'd have gotten control. I talk to people all the time, and I'm talking about very young people. They told me, when they were very young, these are older people now, but they said when they were very young, I'm talking about like 4 or 5, they found their parents' pornography, and they start watching it.
I know about it.
So I'm saying I wouldn't concede to the fact that children are just doing this stuff just out of natural, because I've been to the African continent. I've seen children walk from one place a mile to another place, and they be walking with each other, and the children don't even consider or even know that anything like that exists. I don't think that it's natural. I think that we're in an environment that makes it natural. To the degree I agree with you. In the environment that we're in today, if you leave children alone, they are going to do that because they have been exposed to it. Ain't no two ways about it. Billboards, internet, pornography, it's everywhere. In the cartoons, it's in their it's everywhere.
Of course, yeah. Yeah, like the one they shared on your page, that made me think too. I saw that little stupid cartoon where the white boy with the little black kid, I forgot the name of the little cartoon.
Yeah.
He used him. So I saw that on your page today. And then, but when you watch just movies in general, they always go to a homosexual joke or situation, and it's in everything, man. But when I mentioned that about the children, I wasn't saying, I wasn't trying to find an excuse for that. I'm just saying it happened. It just seems to come up almost, because it just seemed to just come at you. And this was with my nephew. This was in the 80s. Understand me? He's well grown now. He's not no homo or nothing. But in 2016, yeah, I can understand. They want these children to be gay. I understand that for this year. But anyway, Gene, that's what it was. That's what it do, man. I appreciate y'all tackling this situation, man. Only other thing I want to ask you about, you mentioned a while back about going at these insurance companies for what they do to the black image and boycotting them or whatever and shutting them down. When is the movement going to start for stuff like that? Because we need to do that with this horrible music, man. This music is disgusting, man. There was once a time when white folks was outraged about the 2 Live Crew running over CDs and burning them and all that. Now here it is. We need to be the ones doing the same thing with our own artists about this horrible music that they call black music. And what do you think about that, Gene? What should we do to start combating that? And I like to think about the insurance companies, about shutting them down, because they one, it is always disrespecting the black life on TV. I can't remember the name of it, but you mentioned it before.
Yeah, I would say excellent point. This is the thing. The minute that we get the power and influence, I say, matter of fact, not power, we got the power now. The minute that we have the influence, meaning it's not going to be effective if we get 1,000 people to agree to it. We got to be able to if we had 1,000 solid people, yeah, we could, but I'm saying we got to gain the kind of momentum that it becomes a popular idea and the right thing to do. And once we get that kind of momentum, then we'll start doing the kind of stuff you're talking about. I don't want to start something that doesn't have the popularity and the backing so that it's unsuccessful, because then when you try to do the second thing, people won't want to do it. But it's prime time that we start this right now. So I agree with you.
Okay. Well, all right, bro. I'm going to let you go, man. Keep doing your thing. Straight black pride and peace out.
All right. Straight black pride. And the brother just brought up something I'm so glad he did. It was ordained that he called because I wanted people to actually see this. Excuse the language.
I seen this. I could have sworn.
I'm sorry for the language, brothers and sisters.
These white bastards.
Our people don't know how to do anything without being profane.
There's today's target. They want your kids, man. Listen to this.
Probably gonna have to skin a name.
Just because it got somebody black.
I turn on the waterworks. Bring me that.
They think we do it.
Time for me to get paid.
A white man to get
by women.
Yeah.
We got an arrangement. It works like a charm. He puts toys in my room. I put girls on his arm.
Man, boy, love.
He gets me checks. He writes me checks. I'm paying a young boy for sex. I'm paying a young boy for sex. I don't think you like a bad start a doll. All you had to do was buy me half of them all. I scored a D cup. I scored a T-Rex. I'm paying a 5-year-old for sex. I'm paying a 5-year-old for sex. Seriously, man, I love kids so much. I feel like they have one of my own. Me too. That's why I love being a big brother to Ronald. I get to rediscover the world through a child's eyes. Sweet. I mean, I guess I'm supposed to be teaching him.
Save your kids.
He's teaching me. Don't need no roofies with a wing boy this nice. Don't need no roofies with a wing boy this nice. Whoa. I'll help you seal that deal for the right Bishop price. He's ABCs. He's triple H. Wow. I'm using this young boy's face for sex. I'm using this young boy's face for sex. Okay, wow. Paying a young boy for sex. Paying a young boy for sex.
I had a sister tell me just yesterday. She was like, was it yesterday? Yeah, it was Saturday. She was like, yeah, I listen to your program every day and I have my daughter listen to it. I said, is it okay? She said, well, I listened to it first on Tuesday at the job. Then I decide whether my daughter can listen to it. And I said, yeah, I know, sis. I said, sometime, because it's like, we do pretty good as callers with remembering the fact that the whole black family's listening. So it's not a lot of profanity coming from us. But man, I mean, everything we play is profane. So he got a brother that actually, I mean, it was worth showing because you can see they're going directly at our children with this sexual agenda. But, you know, the profanity is all laced in it. So it's like, man, I think it's just we got to get acclimated to getting out of the vulgarity. Again, it's one thing when men are talking on the side of the road to each other, but you know, we got to understand when we're on public forums and we're doing stuff, it's not the appropriate way to communicate. It actually doesn't help what we're doing, but at any rate, y'all saw what we just saw. I mean, I'm paying a young boy for sex and his young brother with an afro. So the whites, and I showed you the commercial earlier, the whole campaign, they're coming directly at our children. They're making it clear that's what they're doing. There's no confusion about it. And that's why I'm saying it's very important for us when we listen to that, to the brother that a lot of people don't want to consider a brother that was trying to threaten Ronald Savage not to go and continue to tell what was happening in his situation with the sexual abuse he had suffered at the hands of individuals he was talking about. And we hear it, we get upset and infuriated because, you know, we know that that's wrong and that it helps perpetuate and keep this thing going on. We have to understand, though, right now we're in a more worse crisis. This is a war of genocide where the sexual violation of our children is in the centerpiece of the victory for the white race against our people, which means not only do we have to deal with the pedophiles in our community and the pedophilia as a culture in our community worldwide and wipe it out, then we got to deal with these whites who are coming in to get it. So we don't have an option to play games with it. We got to do the 4-point process. 1, awareness. 2, prevention. 3, healing. 4, adequate compensation and consequences for the violators of our children. Y'all know what that is. So with that said, brothers and sisters, we're going to end it tonight. I'm going to end it with a video. It's a very, very brief one, a short one, but I think you'll like this one. It's called Homicide. It's by our brother, my Alpha Sankofa. War on the horizon. You gotta love it.
These faggots jumping out of order, breaching black power borders, marching with they foul supporters, dressing wild, loud, and horrid, talking about even when he was a little child, we saw it. He would dress in blouses, tuck his phallus, it was kinda sordid, horrid flower, not a florist or botanical. For fans that choose to hear it allegoric, he threw it and he caught it. They lip kissing, really clicking. Okay, that was porous. They broke the levees, now we're fag flooded like New Orleans. You cheering Caitlin, that freak shoulda stayed a man. He blowing trombones like Nick Husson. Let me zone on the. It's Mayakaru Entertainment. We just wanted to give them a taste of it. Let's get out of here.
And it means that ultimately we would have to get into the position